when he was dying, said that he'd been murdered. I couldn't write that biography without investigating how the man died. Because the man died saying that he was being murdered, I simply had to do the best I could to get at the truth of that.
With pilot Weldy Phipps and pathologist Franklin Paddock, Loomis set out on a flight north to exhume and examine Hall's corpse. Their destination was a bit of Arctic tundra called Thank God Harbor, named by Hall himself before it became his final resting place. To get to this point in his search for the truth, investigator Chauncey Loomis had spent almost 3 years and had unraveled the bureaucratic red tape that could have prevented the journey. After traveling nearly 3,000 miles, he was now only inches away from the frozen body of Charles Francis Hall.
The autopsy itself took, 6 hours because it had to be performed with the body still in the grave. The body was embedded in ice, and it would have taken us days to have gotten it out. The flag was over his face. We had to peel the flag back. His face was not the face of an individual human being. It was more like a death mask.
Behind the mask, however, Loomis sought vital clues.
We took samples from the skull, lung, intestine, stomach. We took hair. We took a fingernail, which turned out to be crucial because that's where the residue of arsenic was found.
A sliver of fingernail, a few strands of hair. Minute fragments from the long-dead body of Charles Francis Hall. In a laboratory like this, those bits and pieces of his body were subjected to sophisticated tests. The results provided incontrovertible proof that Charles Francis Hall was poisoned with arsenic. But by whose hand? His own? Perhaps. Hall didn't trust Bessel's and did dose himself with the medicine on board the ship, most of which contained arsenic. Yet, given Bessel's ambition and Hall's obsession, murder cannot be ruled out. Both men are long since dead, beyond cross-examination. Only Hall's mummified corpse remains, still preserved by the Arctic he sought to conquer, the Arctic that led him, as it has led so many others, to his death. Believe it or not.
This Sci-Fi Channel program is brought to you by Bounty, the quilted quicker picker-upper.
For really tough messes, you don't want to use a sponge because it can redeposit germs that have grown inside. Try Bounty. It's quilted. With durability closer to a sponge, it won't fall apart like this ordinary paper towel. So you avoid using sponges that can redeposit germs. It has quicker absorbency, too. And you throw the germs away.
The quilted quicker picker-upper.
Bounty trashes the germs.
There is nothing in the ocean that we need fear. to enter the Nautilus, you choose to enter a new world.
Take a journey beyond your imagination.
I will not be defeated.
Jules Verne's epic Odyssey
We have to escape.
comes to life. Richard Crenna, Ben Cross, Hallmark Entertainment presents 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea on CBS.
They wouldn't start without me.
That's the marshmallow.
Would they?
Oh, let me stir.
You guys, you're making Rice Krispies treats in there.
This is fun.
Maybe Tony the Tiger needs a partner. This is no way to treat a cultural icon. Ooh. Duh.
That was fun.
Hey, Pop. Next time you should join us. Kellogg's Rice Krispie cereal. Let someone in on the fun.
She's discovered it.
Discover it.
He's uncovered it.
Uncover it.
She's revealed it.
Reveal it.
Healthier, more moisturized skin.
Discover your healthy natural.
Discover new moisture care from Ivory in bar and body wash. The pure clean of Ivory blended with natural moisturizers. It's better for skin than any soap, even on your face.
Let it show.
New moisture care from Ivory.
Discover your healthy natural glow.
The hum of the saw, the wail of the drill, the rhythm of the plane. If you love the music of woodworking, listen to this free TV offer. It's 101 shop tips, packed with secrets from the pros like a jig for routing evenly spaced dados, straightening uneven edges. You'll get 101 time-saving tips, and you get it free when you order cabinet making for just $9.99. Packed with hundreds of full-color photos and illustrations, cabinet making shows you how to master every cabinetry technique and get picture-perfect results. Preview future volumes from The Art of Woodworking with no commitment to buy. Use your credit card and get this video, Shop Secrets from Master Craftsman, free. So call now to order cabinet making for just $9.99 and get 101 shop tips free. Use your credit card and get your free Shop Secrets video. Call now.
Call 1-800-747-0990 to order cabinet making and get your free 101 shop tips. Use your credit card and you'll receive your free Shop Secrets video or send check or money order to the address on your screen.
Traveling in style. It takes money, but it can certainly be worth the cost. This customized limousine is one of the most extraordinary cars in the world. It isn't the telephones, there are two of them, that make this car so very special, or the two television sets, or the bar, or even the bartender. Thank you. No. What distinguishes this car from all others in the world is its length. It is, in fact, the longest automobile in the world, 40 feet. Stood on end, it would be over 3 stories tall. It weighs over 10,000 pounds, took more than a year to customize, has a 40-gallon gas tank, and gets about 5.5 miles to the gallon. Oh, just pull over to the side, please. Of course, a car like this creates special problems. Like finding a parking space it can squeeze into. And then, of course, there are all the other extra expenses. Living well has its price. It all adds up bit by bit. But then, as the rich folks say, if you have to ask how much it costs, you can't afford it. There are some things, however, that money supposedly can't buy. On the other hand, Jacob Fugger, one of the wealthiest men of the 16th century, decided it was worth a try. In Augsburg, Germany, in the year of our Lord 1519, Jacob Fugger established a most unusual community. It still thrives as a self-contained settlement, a neat arrangement of cottages and apartments where the rent has remained constant for 450 years. To live here in tidy, well-lit rooms, renters pay about 66 cents a year. There is a catch. To enjoy these accommodations, tenants must meet certain conditions. One of them is to perform a daily ritual for the sole benefit of their landlord and benefactor. The price is a prayer for the long-dead Jacob Fugger. The required remembrance of Jacob Fugger has been a daily act for over 4 centuries. The ultimate fate of Jacob Fugger's soul, however, remains a mystery. In northern China, a different kind of mystery surrounds the activities of the marketplace. Business dealings are conducted silently through an ancient system of subtle hand signals. Verbal haggling is considered impolite. Bargaining takes place under wraps, hidden from view by a handy shirt tail, while seller and buyers engage in unrelated conversation about such innocent topics as the weather or neighborhood gossip, seemingly unconcerned about the negotiations being conducted by their fingertips. A precise system, it is also a comfortable one, conducted at leisure. Each negotiator is confident that the final contract will remain as prudently private as an expenditure in Japan is conspicuously extravagant.
I feel that when you talk about money, one should be properly attired. It has been said there are only 2 things on which you can absolutely rely: gravity and greed. Water always runs downhill. And no matter how much money you have, you never seem to have enough.
Here at the Funabara Hotel in Shizuoka, Japan, the 2 elements have come together. A solid gold bathtub, probably the largest single golden object in the world, full of hot mineral water. For a fee, you can slip into it, soak away your cares, and luxuriate in the knowledge that you are surrounded by almost $2.5 million worth of pure gold. And what does this noble experience cost? About $20 for a 5-minute submergence. And I assure you, there's a line outside waiting to get in. Proof of another ancient adage: a fool and his money are soon parted. Now, if you will excuse me. Believe it? Or not. A billionaire could not deplete his fortune even if he spent $1,000 a day for 2,500 years. Believe it or not.
If your minty mouthwash tastes a little too medicine-y to you, taste Scope. Its invigorating tingle tells you it's killing millions of germs. Its minty taste tells you how minty fresh your breath can be. Get kissably close with Scope.
Was that your baby?
Yeah.
Twins.
Twins? Wow. Twins.
Can I, have one?
Well,
Okay. How about the one on the left?
None for you.
Enter the Psychic Zone now with 10 free minutes.
It was good. It was really great. I mean, I was surprised to see, him say some of the stuff that he said.
Yeah.
So specifically.
And they knew what type of job I was doing, what the field that I was in, and they just really described me very well.
All I gave her was my name and my birthday, and she started telling me everything that was going on in my life that, that nobody else knows.
So it was just right on the money.
It's really great. You'd be really surprised like I am.
Now you can enter the Psychic Zone too with 10 minutes free.
She told me a lot, and she was right. I mean, she knew him well.
Then he did say that I wanted to go in the pediatric field, which is a field that kind of stunned me that he was able to kind of pull that from just talking.
They just tell you everything that you're feeling and you're going through. And it's like they're just sitting right in front of you, looking at you, just reading you.
Enter the Psychic Zone now with 10 minutes free. Call for your free reading.
Call 1-800-281-9939.
A short refresher course for your skin. Start with the cleanser that feels this refreshing. Noxzema. When you feel the deep, clean tingle, you know you'll notice a healthy difference. Feel the healthy tingle of Noxzema.
Mystery Science Theater 3000 has staggered back to life. Mystery Science Theater 3000. Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Journey into the far reaches of aquaspace.
Attention, security break. Brakes for impact. Seal outer doors, rig for collision.
Launch countermeasures.
From Steven Spielberg's Amblin Entertainment Inc. and Universal Television comes a journey into the future and beneath the sea. Roy Scheider stars in Sequest DSV. Premieres Monday, March 31st at 8 p.m., 5 Pacific.
Collected or created by Lily Lackett, these are indeed works of art. Inspired by a love affair with neon that began when Lily was 5 years old, traveling across the country with her father. As a child, to her, the signs were part of a passing parade of colorful roadside attractions. As an artist, they have become her full-time, permanent occupation. And whether whimsical or surrealistic, they come with a serious price tag. This one, on display here in Los Angeles, goes for $15,000. Lily calls it Blessed Oblivion. The original Mona Lisa was painted around 1503 by Leonardo da Vinci. This version is by Lily Lackett, and only time will tell whether it will age as well as the original, or if neon art is a glorious but passing fancy. Unlike sculptors who use modern technology, another artist, 88 years old, turns to the wilderness for his inspiration. For Dudley Carter, the cedars of Washington State pose a challenge. First, he locates 3 magnificent trees that will be worthy of his vision. Each one stands 4 stories high and weighs 15 tons. Transported to Portland, Oregon, the giant trees are ready to be shaped by Carter's hand. For 2 years, he will live at the worksite. For almost 80 years, Carter has wielded an axe, once as a lumberjack. Today, he shapes sculpture. The inspiration for his designs, American Indian art. Hewing out his creation blow by blow is a test of stamina as well as artistic talent. Driven to meet the deadline for the work's completion, he sometimes labors well into the night. Carter avoids power tools whenever possible. Hammer and chisel allow him to leave the personal signature of his technique in the wood. After 2 full years of unceasing labor, the work is complete. the mammoth sculptures are erected as the focal point of a new shopping center outside Portland. The completed sculpture stands as the towering testament of an artist who, like his work, is an authentic American original. Perhaps no man ever achieved a more monumental physical task in his 90th year. Carvings as timeless as the Indian totem poles which inspired them. In this Paris studio, other sculptures in wood are shaped by a drastically different vision. This former philosophy student has devoted himself to creating a uniquely personal art form. Christian Renoncier is driven by a surprising obsession to duplicate everyday objects in wood. Copying an ordinary cardboard envelope tests his virtuosity. After curing the wood to make it softer and more workable, he meticulously carves his sculpture, devoting an average of 2 months to a single piece. An even more demanding task is his attempt to fashion a perfect wooden replica of his own boot. At last, the time comes for the objects of the artist's private passion to go on public display. His wooden sculptures, as always, kindle heated controversy. Unlike the masters of the past, Renoncier avoids noble subjects for familiar ones. The artist is dedicated to seeking out the sensuality in mundane objects. For him, the challenge is to preserve the look of the soft folds and creases of fabric using the hard permanence of wood. Christian Renoncier's total concentration on the everyday world contrasts with the startling vision of another artist, Robert Smithson. For Smithson's art attempted nothing less than altering the shape of the land. He would transform a 10-acre site on Utah's Great Salt Lake into an avant-garde work of art known as the Spiral Jetty. Meticulously, he staked out the outline of his concept, one too grandiose for him to achieve alone. Following Smithson's dictates, earth-moving machinery delivered over 300 truckloads of mud and boulders, an avalanche of over 6,600 tons. Rapidly, at the rate of 10 tons per hour, the conception of one man rose from the rubble, a creation of epic scope. When the work was finished in 1970, Smithson had literally put himself on the map as an artist. His achievement was one of the baffling artistic landmarks of the 20th century. The television screen provides the canvas for a revolutionary form, video art. At Paris's Pompidou Museum, a mosaic of television monitors stimulates the eye and boggles the mind. It took the artist, Nam June Paik, 2 weeks to adjust the colors of the almost 400 sets to his satisfaction. Crowds flock here, rediscovering the magic of television, the most extraordinary communication medium of all. Believe it or not.
Prolific painter Pablo Picasso created more than 400 works of art in only 5 years between his 85th and 90th birthday. Believe it or not.
We both have colds. Why is he up and at him? And I'm so tired and cranky and headachy, I can't even get started. Why? Because last night when he said,
let's take NyQuil so we can have a good morning.
I said, why? What's the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, achy, stuffy head fever so you can rest medicine got to do with morning, silly? He took it. I took these. He got rest. I didn't. Why?
Vicks NyQuil. It's also the bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, fully rested, so take it at night and have a good morning medicine.
All hand lotions stop dryness. This one stops germs. Introducing Carey Antibacterial Hand Lotion. Proven to kill germs as it softens skin. New Carey Antibacterial Hand Lotion. Trusted therapy for softer, safer hands.
It seems no matter where you go, people are hearing about Clairol's Herbal Essences shampoo.
Oh, it feels so good. Yes, yes, yes.
Herbal Essences, a totally organic experience.
Ring up over $700 billion in sales like AT&T, People Talk. Reach $1 trillion in real estate transactions like the Century 21 system. They must be talking to us. Because when you're this big, the #1 real estate system, you can do things others can't. Like average a home bought or sold by our customers every minute, every day. No wonder in a nationwide survey, homeowners said they'd recommend Century 21 by 6 to 1 over the nearest competitor. So call #1, Century 21.
What do you want?
Something sinfully sweet. Warm and gooey and chewy. Moist and fudgy. That's lower in fat. That tastes terrific.
You want the Duncan Hines Get It All Lower Fat recipe. Only on Duncan Hines mixes. Just add Mott's applesauce instead of oil for home-baked treats with lower fat and the irresistible taste of Duncan Hines. Duncan Hines. Hot stuff.
I am the Sci-Fi Channel. Saturday, I will project your cinematic dreams in the dimension of movie magic.
At 7, the Saturday double feature begins with Dollman versus the Demonic Toys.
You are so small.
And at 8:30,
couldn't do no harm.
Jeff Bridges, Karen Allen, John Carpenter, Starman.
The Sci-Fi Channel Weekends of Wonder.
Saturday.
Come with me.
Gordon, right?
Yes. Have you ever worked with anything high-tech? No.
Thank you for the resume.
But we're looking for someone with
More education.
Some experience.
Good luck to you.
What you don't know can hurt you. So let ITT Tech help. Call 1-800-942-0099 for an informative brochure. That's 1-800-942-0099.
Next.
Sure, my old job gave me a paycheck, but it didn't give me much else. So I called ITT Tech. I always liked electronics, and with their help, I was able to turn what I like to do into what I'm paid to do. Now I have a job that gives me some real satisfaction, and something I never had before, a real future.
For an informative brochure, call ITT Tech at 1-800-942-0099. That's 1-800-942-0099.
London, England. For visitors, it abounds in subtle surprises which the British take pride in marking with inviting signs. Preserved here in wax statues, this museum commemorates the dark side of England's history. At one time, in England, you could buy a ticket to see a hanging. You still can, here in a dark, gloomy chamber on Tooley Street. It's called the London Dungeon. During the 17th and 18th centuries, hangings were a common sight, a punishment for such seemingly petty crimes as cutting down a tree or poaching game. But hanging was a popular event, Folks would pay 2 shillings for a seat to watch the proceedings. Justice was swift then, and the guilty rarely got away. Of course, the innocent didn't have much of a chance either. In the quest for truth and justice, the British invented this novel device, the rack. Slowly but surely, the arms and legs of a victim could be pulled from their sockets. Painfully. The object was to induce a suspect to make a confession. It generally worked. For some crimes, punishment was less drawn out. But much more final. Oh, by the way, this is Simon, Lord Lovat, a Jacobite, a traitor to the crown. He has the dubious honor of being the last man to be beheaded in England. Death, however, wasn't always so quick or so relatively painless. Sometimes it came very slowly indeed. Being gibbeted, encased in an iron cage and hung from a handy tree, was another form of punishment. If the victims weren't already dead, they soon would be. The rotting bodies were a common sight in those days, and some people were positively attracted to them. There was a superstition that parts of the corpse had powerful medicinal charms, especially the moss which grew on top of the decomposing skull. The practice, of course, has long been abandoned, but a bit of poetry from that period survives, which captures the flavor of that unenlightened time. Now climb who dare, where he swings in the air, and pluck me 5 locks of the dead man's hair. A child's poem, but hardly child's play. By specializing in pain and the instruments of torture, the London Dungeon attracts the sort of audience that might not make the trip to Old Lyme, Connecticut to meet Elizabeth Tashigian.
Fruits don't speak to me. Vegetables don't interest me. But as for nuts, well, that's a different story. They hold my love and interest. They speak to me.
To view the exhibits in what is probably the only museum in the world devoted to nuts, the fee is a small donation and a nut to add to Ms. Tashigian's growing collection of the actual and the artificial. The centerpiece is a 35-pound Coco de Mer nut. For Ms. Tashigian, it is a labor of love.
At one time, the term nut had a bad connotation. But at the museum, through the exhibits, we are gradually doing away with the bad connotation of the word nut. It's more of an affectionate term now.
Ms. Tashigian has composed what is, in effect, a national anthem for nuts everywhere.
Oh, nobody ever thinks about nuts. Nuts can be so beautiful if looked around. Take some home and handle them properly, artistically, and feel a new taste being born.
In Chicago, at the Museum of Science and Industry, tucked away in a corner near a stairwell, is one of the more unusual museum exhibits ever put on display. It attracts the attention of children and adults fascinated with what otherwise they might never see, the insides of an actual human body. To achieve this display, medical school authorities recovered the bodies of a man and a woman who had died of natural causes. Then, the corpses were frozen into solid blocks and cut with a power saw into vertical and horizontal sections that are only half an inch thick. Preserved in a chemical solution, these anatomical sections were originally designed for use as visual aids in the education of medical students. This is a cross-section of human lungs, sliced horizontally across the rib cage. In the 1940s, before electronics revolutionized diagnostic medicine, cross-sections like these were one of the few ways available to get a close look at the internal mechanisms of the human body. In the past, these exhibits were vital to the education of future doctors. The Victoria and Albert Museum, London. A vast and sprawling place. There are over 7 miles of gallery here, filled with thousands and thousands of priceless treasures. Among them, one so very special, it is called the children's favorite. The one they ask to see more than anything else. A treasure created for the amusement of a sultan. This is the Sultan, Tipu by name, Lord and Master of Mysore in India. They called him Tipu the Tiger. He ate sparrow brains for breakfast, kept over 300 women in his harem, and fought the English savagely in battle after battle, campaign after campaign, as they tried to expand their Indian empire. Finally, Tipu the Tiger, Sultan of Mysore, was slain in combat defending his palace in the year 1799. Among the booty taken from his palace by the conquering English was the Sultan's wonderful toy. This, the children's favorite, the Sultan's mechanical tiger and his English victim. The mayhem is set to music. A hand-cranked organ hidden inside the tiger energizes the mechanism and forces the defeated British soldier to salute the conquering tiger. A reversal of reality, but a constant reminder of the Sultan's doomed determination to emerge victorious. Tipu the Tiger, Sultan of Mysore, may long be dead, but his sentiments regarding his English enemies certainly live on. Museums can be such amusing places. The Museum of Natural History in New York uses carnivorous beetles to strip the flesh from animal skeleton exhibits. Believe it or not.
Cool stuff for collectors. The Sci-Fi Traders Cool Stuff from the Cosmos. 6 p.m. Eastern, Sci-Fi Saturday.
A short refresher course for your skin. Start with the cleanser that feels this refreshing. Noxzema. When you feel the deep, clean tingle, you know you'll notice a healthy difference. Feel the healthy tingle of Noxzema.
Was that your baby?
Yeah.
Twins.
Twins? Wow. Twins. Can I, have one?
Well, okay. How about the one on the left?
2 for me!
None for you.
Enter the Psychic Zone now with 10 free minutes.
It was good. It was really great. I mean, I was surprised to see, him say some of the stuff that he said.
Yeah.
So specifically.
They knew what type of job I was doing, what the field that I was in, and they just really described me very well.
All I gave her was my name and my birthday, and she started telling me everything that was going on in my life that, that nobody else knows.
So it was just right on the money.
It's really great. You'd be really surprised like I am.
Now you can enter the Psychic Zone 2 with 10 minutes free.
She told me a lot, and she was right. I mean, she knew him well.
Then he did say that I wanted to go in the pediatric field, which is a field that kind of stunned me that he was able to kind of pull that from just talking.
They just tell you everything that you're feeling and you're going through. And it's like they're just sitting right in front of you, looking at you, just reading you.
Enter the Psychic Zone now with 10 minutes free. Call for your free reading.
Call 1-800-980-8548.
A short refresher course for your skin. Start with the cleanser that feels this refreshing. Noxzema. When you feel the deep, clean tingle, you know you'll notice a healthy difference. Feel the healthy tingle of Noxzema.
Do you want to make more money? Of course, we all do. At ICS, more than 10 million men and women have trained for job promotions and new careers without ever setting foot inside a classroom.
ICS gave me the skills that got me a promotion. And a raise, too.
Sure, I worked hard to be where I am today, but if I hadn't enrolled in ICS to earn my degree, I wouldn't be here. It's as simple as that.
Now at home in your spare time, you could get your career diploma or even your degree. Choose from any one of these courses. High school, TV VCR repair, computer programming, electrician, animal care specialist, auto mechanics, PC repair, medical transcriptionist, legal assistant, medical office assistant, learning the personal computer, dental assistant, electronics, or get your degree. You can major in business management or accounting. So call the ICS toll-free number and get your exciting career pack absolutely free.
Call for free information with no obligation. Call 1-800-670-6667 is 1-800-670-6667.
Lost Highways Baltazar Getty first contacts Alice Krieg, star in Habitat, a Sci-Fi Channel original movie in April.
A 100 years ago, before there were stereo discs, digital tapes, AM and FM, and tweeters and woofers, this is what phonograph records looked like. You played them on machines like this. And there was nothing automatic about these early phonographs. You didn't just sit back and listen. Now, this may not sound like much to us, but 100 years ago, it was a sensation. Everybody seemed to want one of these new devices, and competition to make and sell them was intense. One day, just before the turn of the century, an English painter named Francis Barraud created what he thought would be a surefire advertising gimmick that would give the Edison Company a definite sales advantage. A picture of his dog Nipper listening to their machine. The Edison Company turned him down. The company that became RCA Victor didn't. On his next try, the gramophone company purchased the picture along with its caption, his master's voice. Used to sell phonograph machines and records by the millions, and eventually tens of millions, Nipper soon became one of the most famous dogs in the world. Nipper's appeal is just one indication of the worldwide regard humans have for beloved pets. In Japan, that regard is sometimes taken to outrageous extremes. For example, a restaurant. For dogs only. Meals are prepared with a gourmet's touch, served in serene, comfortable surroundings, and set to music. For other pampered pooches, the Japanese provide personalized yoga exercises. Such devoted attention to luxury in life is matched by an equal concern for the rituals of death. To Buddhists, all animals, even insects, have souls, and therefore all life is to be treated with reverence. In the United States, the death of a pet is sometimes no less a bereavement than the loss of a member of the family. In the selection of a site and suitable monument, there is tangible proof of the love pet owners have for man's best friend. This cemetery in Wantagh, New York, is the final resting place of Richard M. Nixon's famous dog, Checkers. as well as for the pets of less well-known dog lovers.
I got my pet when he was 6 weeks old, and I had him for 13 and a half years. He was a good little dog, and I loved him. And I feel that I owe this to him to maintain a burial place for him, just like people do with each other.
I have a 16-year-old Schnauzer, and I love him so much I even have a little statue of him in the front of my automobile. There's also one in the front of my wife's automobile, and I have one on my golf cart. And when he dies, which of course we know is not going to be too far in the future, he will be buried right out here in our pet cemetery, probably alongside of my son's dog. What was his name, Buzz?
Wesley.
Wesley. Now, there was a very, very brilliant dog. Phooey. But a lovable thing.
Motivated by love, such cemeteries memorialize an affection between man and dog. In Alaska, that affection is expressed by the pride owners have in the strength and endurance of husky sled dogs. Each year, after undergoing a thorough medical checkup, teams of 50-pound huskies like this set out to pull racing sleds in a competition that is a unique test of their stamina and their owner's skill. The start line is in Anchorage. The finish is in Nome, over 1,000 miles away. The first obstacle is simply to get out of town, but that's the easiest part. After that, wilderness begins. The dogs cover as much as 80 miles a day. For their owners, their health becomes vital. He is now as dependent on them as they are on him. To protect their feet, each dog can be fitted with mittens. And should a dog become ill or injured, it will be evacuated immediately. The race is against time and the unpredictable whims of nature. Temperatures can fall to 45 degrees below zero with storms that all but obliterate the trail. After 15 days, the first team arrives. They have run almost 1,100 miles. The man will claim the prize, but it is the dogs who won. In Africa, wild dogs compete for a prize of greater worth, survival itself. For them, life on the vast plains in Kenya requires a close and finely organized family unit. Each new generation of pups born to the pack, sometimes in massive litters of 18 or more at a time, demonstrates the fine balance maintained by nature between supply and demand, predator and prey. Great herds of wildebeests, natural prey of the wild dogs, arrive as if on schedule to graze within sight of the waiting pack. Quietly, almost casually, the dogs begin a process honed by evolution and generations of practice. With their tails flicking to signal their movements, the dogs split into separate units to pursue their common objective. Working in teams, the dogs sort through the herd, seeking out the weak, the aged, or the infirm. By singling out the weakest of the herd, the dogs can wear down their prey and ultimately join forces for the kill. After little more than brief resistance, the wildebeest falls to its attackers. Yet even in this apparently brutal act, the balance of nature is being preserved. For in the death of one wildebeest, there is sustenance for a new generation on the plains of Kenya. Wild dogs like these must compete to live. Some dogs, however, live to compete.
It may seem strange to associate these puppies with ancient tradition, strict rules of combat, and sterling qualities of courage and strength. But don't let the size fool you. These are Tosa dogs, a special crossbreed of animals found here in Kochi, Japan. From the day they're born, the Tosas are prepared and trained for a sport of ritual combat that has many of the same trappings as sumo wrestling. Dog sumo originated here in Japan almost 800 years ago. It is bound by strict, carefully enforced rules. Although low growls are permitted, a bark would immediately disqualify a competitor. As in human sumo, the object is to force an opponent out of the fighting area. But a winning Tosa doesn't always go to his corner voluntarily. Trainers often have to intervene. The end of a fight is not always dignified. As in other sports, the Tosa dogs are ranked by weight. And, as in other sports, honors are bestowed upon the winners. Like their human counterparts in the world of sumo, a champion Tosa dog is awarded a mawashi, the ceremonial sumo belt, along with other colorful symbols of victory. Thank you. The fighting Tosa dogs of Japan. Believe it or not. Most people are convinced that an egg is a fragile thing, that it has to be protected, packed in special cottons, handled with extreme care. Yet, in fact, nature has seen to it that the life, or the meal, inside this shell is well protected. An egg is a lot stronger than you think. For instance, you can force it through the neck of a bottle smaller than the egg. Impossible? Not if you know the secret. To accomplish this remarkable feat and amaze your friends requires just a bit of preparation. First, the egg, hard-boiled and soaked in vinegar. Part one. Then, the bottle. You light a small piece of paper very carefully. Don't burn yourself. And once you get it burning properly, you drop it into the bottle, then quickly place the egg on top. And voila, intact and unbroken. Believe it or not.
You down. But you can count on Imodium AD to stop diarrhea, often in one dose. You could end up taking dose after dose after dose of the pink stuff to stop diarrhea as effectively as Imodium AD. Don't take chances when you have diarrhea. Take Imodium AD, one dose relief you can count on.
Nicky has just discovered a new way to park and dry his cars with Charmin Ultra. It's as soft as facial tissue. And it's the strongest one, too. As you can see, the competition is all washed up. It's the perfect combination of softness and strength. Charmin Ultra.
Vicky, honey!
10 cents may not look like much to you, but sign up for Sprint Cents Long Distance now, and you'll be amazed at what this little dime can do.
Every time I get another dime, I think about calling my agent for just 10 cents a minute. So what if he puts me on hold?
Barb, your agent's on the phone.
Coming. Yes.
Funny, ever since I got Sprint's dime a minute rate, I can call anywhere in the country and know exactly what I'm paying every month.
Nothing surprises me. Hi.
Suddenly, it all makes sense. I work all day, so at 10 cents a minute nights and weekends, I can give myself the green light to talk.
Call now and you'll get an extra bonus. 200 minutes free.
Of course, I could pay more nights and weekends, but that wouldn't make sense.
To me, the biggest bonus is I get 10% cash back. That's cool.
With Sprint Sense, it all makes sense. See for yourself. Call now, 1-800-913-9731.
It all begins with a dream.
Wouldn't it be amazing to be up there?
The courage of those who risk their lives for it.
It's my job to test your minds and your bodies to the breaking point.
All lead to this moment.
It's one small step for man, one.
James Michener's Space begins Monday, April 14th at 9 p.m.
Magnificent and awesome Kilauea volcano here on the big island of Hawaii. It is one of the largest and most active volcanoes on Earth. This is the home of the daughter of Father Sky and Mother Earth, creator and destroyer, the maker of mountains, melter of rocks, eater of forests. She is a goddess, the goddess of fire, and her name is Pele. From 35 miles deep in the earth, Kilauea's increasingly frequent eruptions can shoot up fountains of fiery lava nearly 2,000 feet high. It is perhaps the most spectacular show on Earth. Rivers of fire hundreds of yards wide and 5 miles long speed down the mountainside at 35 miles an hour, exploding or incinerating everything in their path. The heat is unimaginable, some 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, 3 times hotter than molten lead. Thus were the Hawaiian Islands themselves created, built up from countless volcanic eruptions over tens of millions of years. Here at Kilauea, along the rim of the massive crater, groundwater constantly seeps down into the earth until it reaches the superheated rocks below. Then it rushes back to the surface as steam, pouring out of vents scattered for miles throughout the area. Old-timers refer to these vapors as Pele's breath, steaming from deep inside the volcano, a warning sign to non-believers that the tempestuous goddess still rules here. When Pele's fury is spent and the flowing lava cools, tourists often pick up pieces of black rock and take them home as souvenirs of their visit to Pele's domain. But an odd thing, the Hawaii Chamber of Commerce reports that quite often packages arrive at their offices with the souvenir rock enclosed, sent back by tourists who say that since returning home they've been plagued with bad luck. Something tells them that their misfortunes began with these lava rocks, and since they came from Pele's home, they must be returned to her. Just superstition, of course. What is mere superstition to us may be, to another culture, deeply held religious beliefs. In Bali, mountains are homes of the gods, and a volcano, Gunung Agung, is the holiest of mountains. In 1963, after lying dormant for centuries, Gunung Agung erupted. Clearly the gods were angry. Although they were directly in the path of flowing lava, the people of one village refused to leave. Facing the exploding mountain, they sat and prayed. The gods were punishing them, and they would accept their fate. Some 1,500 were killed. 16 years later, as a new century begins in the Balinese calendar, The priests have ordered a ceremony to cleanse the island of spiritual pollution. Pilgrims laboriously climb the 11,000-foot peak where live animals will be sacrificed to appease the gods who live in Gunung Agung. From birth to death, the Balinese engage in a complicated series of rituals designed to keep the world in balance. Ages ago, human beings were sacrificed to placate the gods. The Balinese do not see live sacrifice as cruel. Animals lucky enough to be chosen will be reincarnated into higher forms of life. The mountain will not spew forth fiery death. On Sicily's Mount Etna and other volcanoes around the world, blazing rivers of molten rock present irresistible challenge and opportunity to Andre Boucher. For more than a dozen years, he has been making dangerous pilgrimage in pursuit of a unique quest. As he helps his assistant don a fire-resistant suit, Boucher repeats his instructions. The lava he seeks must be just right. Hot enough to be liquid and malleable, cool enough for tools to handle. Andre Boucher, a Swiss, is a sculptor, and lava to him is virgin substance in which he can express his art. Because the lava cools quickly, Boucher must work fast to capture the essence of the liquid rock, to put his mark on it before it fixes itself permanently into unwanted shape. Boucher's works have been displayed in galleries in Europe and North America. A serious and somewhat mystical man, he hopes his creations will help viewers experience a new sense of mankind's relationship to cosmic processes. On Mount Etna, having completed another dangerous mission, Andre Boucher gives thanks with his own personal sacrifice to the mountain. Volcanoes release their energy in varying ways. Because of all that steam, the city of Beppu in Japan may look like a center of heavy industry, but looks can be deceiving. The steam of Beppu issues forth not from factories, but from the earth itself. There are over 3,700 pools like this throughout the city. The Japanese word for them is jigoku, but jigoku is also the Japanese word for hell. A grim reminder that Japan is volcano country. An inferno seethes below. The jigoku come in all shapes and colors. Like this one, the ocean hell. All of them may someday erupt with cataclysmic force and release the blast furnace heat that melts solid rock into flowing, annihilating lava. But for the moment, hell is put to a useful service. These jigoku, many of them hundreds of feet deep, tap that very heat and bring it gently to us here. The Japanese believe that because of the minerals dissolved in these waters, they are of great healing value. People come from all over the country to bathe in them, to drink them, to inhale their vapors. The waters of hell. The temperature of some of these jigoku is over 200 degrees. You can boil an egg in that. Oishi. Delicious. The eruption of Mount St. Helens created enough ashes and dust to cover Manhattan Island to a depth of 28 stories. Believe it or not.
So soft, you love it. Just one touch of it. You know Downy does it. So soft on your skin. Just come on in.
Feel Downy's softness even when you line dry. Mid-price brands can leave clothes stiffer. Only Downy gives the most fluffy softness and Downy's freshness.
So soft, you love it. Only Downy does it. Come on in to Downy.
Oh, I'm glad this day is over. Hey, you okay?
My arthritis. I could use some aspirin.
I've got some Tylenol.
No, I need something for the inflammation.
Beth, that's old news. My doctor told me most minor arthritis pain isn't caused by inflammation.
Osteoarthritis pain is caused by the wear and tear of joints, and Tylenol is the pain reliever doctors recommend most.
Maybe you'll start listening to me now?
Only about Tylenol.
Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
Howdy, folks. We're looking for,
Route 9!
Route 9! That goes to Twist Town, where everything fruity gets twisted.
New Starburst, Fruit Twist, Cherry, Lemon.
I'm really twisted and I like it.
Ooh! Hey man, fight this! New Starburst Fruit Twist, made with real fruit juice. 4 twisted flavors in every pack. Twist up the juice!
To some, it's where the heart is. Others think of it as their little piece of heaven. But no matter how you describe it, there are different Comet Home Care cleaners to clean it. Whichever the room, whichever Comet you choose, it'll clean more than just the surface. Comet's deep cleaning action gets to the bottom of deep down embedded dirt. So you get more than just a surface clean. You get something that goes much deeper. Comet Home Care Cleaners, a deeper level of clean.
Cool stuff for collectors. The Sci-Fi Traders Cool Stuff from the Cosmos. Today at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, Sci-Fi Monday. Embark on the maiden voyage of the Sequest.
We've been attacked by a renegade craft.
Would the captain care to assume command? This is Nathan Bridger, captain of the Sequest.
We are prepared to accept your unconditional surrender.
I want to blast her out of the water.
This isn't over yet.
From the director of The Empire Strikes Back comes the 2-hour movie that started the adventure. Roy Scheider assumes command on Sequest DSV next Monday at 8 p.m. 5 Pacific.
Lettuce, tomatoes, onions, endive for a special touch. All the ingredients for a fresh salad. Just slice them, shred them, and toss them with your favorite dressing. Not so easy to do with your arm in a sling. As a matter of fact, it's almost impossible. It's a simple thing to do, slicing a tomato. Or so I thought until now. The sling was just to make the point that ordinary actions like slicing a tomato, tying your shoestrings, just getting dressed, all become extraordinary obstacles when you are deprived, even temporarily, of the use of your arm or hand or any part of your body. There are some people, however, who have learned to live with even greater restrictions on their mobility. For them, each tomorrow is a new and formidable challenge. We call them disabled, but their achievements are not only extraordinary, but inspiring. On a quiet, sparsely settled island off the coast of New Zealand, Ken Smith is building his dream house. It's almost finished now, and he's done it all himself. The lumber and other materials came in by barge, and he had to drag it all up the hillside piece by piece. Ken Smith has been blind since childhood. He taught himself carpentry with the aid of special tools like a braille ruler. A battery-powered electronic level beeps until it's perfectly horizontal or vertical. He's even installing his own plumbing, and everything's being done by hand because there's no electricity for power tools. Ken's wife and 2 daughters will move in with him as soon as the house is finished. When people tell him how amazing he is, Ken Smith says, "I don't see it that way. I never stop to think about it. I just do it."
Thank you.
Remember, keep your head looking up.
Cerebral palsy is one of mankind's cruelest afflictions. A disorder of the central nervous system occurring usually at birth, it doesn't get worse, but seldom gets better. Maria French has been fighting it all her life.
Okay, come on, way up. That's it. Come on, fight.
Because her condition is highly visible, and people make assumptions about the many things she cannot do, she enjoys the anonymity her car provides. "I love driving," she says, "and once I'm on the freeway, I become another car. There's nothing different about me." While acknowledging her limitations, Maria is determined to work and contribute to society. "There's more than one way for me to get to where I want to go," she says. "I get up and push the wheelchair, and I can go anywhere."
Because not everybody goes to school with.
Now a teacher in the Southern California high school she attended, Maria French seeks to instill in her pupils a desire to improve physical and mental abilities and to develop social skills. She says any person can become limited, but the limitation does not devalue the person.
I think I am the first severely disabled person that they have hired. They see me as a role model, which is good because then they know that anything is possible. It gives them a kind of hope. It also relieves the tension that they don't have to be normal to make it.
In the unpredictable and highly competitive world of art, a remarkable newcomer has begun to gain local recognition. Mostly romantic representations of female faces and bodies, his drawings are composed of thousands of minute individual lines, drawn with ordinary commercial pens of varied colors. Now 29, Robert Tome has been a quadriplegic since he was 15 years old.
After I got hurt, it seemed like everything was over. It was like I was dead. And I wouldn't put a pen in my mouth at all because I thought it was ugly. You know, I just didn't really want to do it. Right there.
Yeah.
It's time for a break.
After years of depression and soul-searching, Tome renewed his boyhood hobby, drawing. When he was 26, he married the former Kathy Prather, who has 2 children by a previous marriage. She became the spark that finally motivated him to work seriously at his art.
Looks good, though. I hope we can get it matted and framed in time to take with us.
It's the best piece I've done yet.
You always say that, Robert.
Well, every piece is getting better and better, it seems like.
Tom also writes poetry and is working on ways to enable him to try sculpting. He says, there are a lot of ideas churning in my head trying to get out.
Okay. You want to start?
Might as well.
Okay. Which way do you want it? This way?
Okay.
Do I get a kiss? Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Do you need anything, Holly?
Right. I finally tried to sort everything out between me and God, and I asked him if I had to be this way. I didn't want to be alone. And then he sent me my wife. And her and the kids have been everything to me. Everything.
Although he has many of the medical difficulties associated with quadriplegia, Tom likes to get out of the house as often as possible.
Yeah, how you doing?
He's frequently asked to meet with recent victims of severe spinal cord injuries who find inspiration in his achievements. He usually shows his drawings and begins his talk by telling of his own injury, how his neck was broken in a high school football game.
One of our rival schools. I was playing strong safety, and it was 4th down, and the guy broke through the line. I went in to fill in the gap, and I tripped, and I landed real wrong. I was in deep depression for about 9 years. I tried to commit suicide, but it was a bummer because I woke up. They pumped my stomach. I was okay, and I go, I can't. Why? I can't even kill myself. So I was really depressed about that for quite a bit longer. I just had to get in my head that this is the way I was going to be, and I had to be alive. It's hard to live. And with the help of God now, I don't feel like I've lost that much. Had to get to the point where there were more important things in my body. Like my wife and my kids. And now the work, which is all from God. And it's my work to show, and it must be shown. Just find your focus, man, and just don't let anything stop you. And that's the only thing that's going to bring you out of yourself, because you're going to get that dignity and that pride. That's all you need. And once you have that attitude, once you have that certainty, the handicap doesn't matter anymore. It really doesn't.
Disabled Irish writer Christy Brown wrote 6 books by typing with the little toe of his left foot. Believe it or not.
As a receptionist here, I can tell you that in this office, if you haven't been using the right toothpaste, the dentist lets you know it.
Wrong toothpaste?
When it goes like this, it means you've got a tartar problem. But this means you've been brushing with Crest Tartar Control.
Tartar forms especially at the gum line, and regular toothpaste can't block that tartar. But Crest has patented tartar blockers that help reduce visible tartar buildup.
How'd it go?
Yeah? The dentist's choice is Crest Protection.
Go ahead, Snoopy. Dive in. Indulge. You've earned it. Eat as many crunchy milk-bone biscuits as you want. They're all yours. Devour. Think of how clean your teeth will feel. How you crave them. Charlie Brown, what's that stupid beagle dreaming about?
I have no idea.
Milkbone. Give your dog something to smile about.
It seems no matter where you go, people are hearing about Clairol's Herbal Essences shampoo. Hearing about the all-natural botanicals, the organic herbs and pure mountain water.
Love it.
But what impresses them most is how much people love their hair.
Yes, yes, yes.
Could you bring me some of that shampoo?
Herbal essences, a totally organic experience.
Unfortunately, these women have an overnight flight and a cough. The woman in first class is taking Robitussin DM, while the woman in coach is taking Vicks 44. How do they compare? Vicks 44 looks and feels more soothing and relieves coughs up to 8 hours, while Robitussin should be taken every 4. So while this woman might have the better seat, guess who's having the better flight? 8-hour Vicks 44. Get the most from just 1 dose.
Jack in to the Dominion, the home of science fiction on the web, and let your imagination run wild with Seeing Ear Theater, a listening adventure for your mind. Surf through time and hear lost radio dramas. Enjoy new, twisted tales of intrigue and experience classic stories in a brand new way. Rattle your senses. Seeing Ear Theater, only on the Dominion. You won't believe where your ears will take you. The Dominion at www.sci-fi.com.
Today, Microsoft makes the internet easy. Today, it's the Microsoft Network, and it's free for a month. Today, it's easier to do what you want, keep in touch, and have some fun. Today, life just got a whole lot easier.
It was the best of times.
Today, it's different. The Microsoft Network is free for a month when you call 1-800-843-7200. MSN brings the internet to life right on your Windows 95-based PC with sound, motion, and more. Send and receive email. Get the news as it happens. Plan and book a trip. Manage your investments. And about a million other things. Call 1-800-843-7200 for your free month today. You'll get a free CD-ROM with an MSN preview video to get you started.
It's just really extraordinary to see what you can do.
And unlimited hours on MSN and the internet. Free for a month. So call today, and you're on your way.
The Fiesta Mart in Pasadena, Texas may seem like thousands of other variety stores around America. There's almost always something worth buying here. But there's something here you won't find anywhere else in the world. It is a 300-year-old treasure. It is history. It is art. It is inspiration. It is La Última Cena, the Last Supper, as painted by the Spanish master Bartolomé Murillo. It's on display, but it's not for sale. At least not at a price most people would be willing to pay. It was recently appraised at $650,000. No wonder it's protected by a special alarm system. Other paintings by Murillo hang in some of the greatest galleries in the world. The Louvre, the Prado, the Metropolitan. The owner of this store bought this painting and hung it here to attract customers, hoping they would find La Última Cena as fascinating and appealing as he did. You might not expect to find a masterpiece worth a fortune hanging in a variety store. But then America is filled with all kinds of surprises.
Fine. Excuse me, all these people got to move back. Now this is a critical part, Fern. This is a critical part where you're bending, where you're coming.
In Columbus, Ohio, a food company celebrates its 100th anniversary by unveiling the world's longest hot dog. To produce it required weeks of experimentation by engineers at one of the country's largest wiener factories. The actual manufacturing took 4 full days, and an enthusiastic crew took 3.5 hours to lay out the 600-pound monster. Every succulent inch lovingly and delicately positioned in 6-foot lengths of bun.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2,000 feet! That's 6 football fields! 6 football fields!
And what does one do with 2,000 feet of hot dog? Simply add 26 gallons of mustard, 26 gallons of ketchup, then come and get it.
Boy, it's really good.
This is my wallet. 250 feet long. And it's all filled with credit cards.
Meet Walter Cavanaugh, 40-year-old real estate broker from Santa Clara, California.
And this wallet, which has the world's record, doesn't 250 feet does not hold all my credit cards. Just look at this.
Nearly 1,200 cards, almost $1.5 million worth of credit. Kavanaugh says some 10,000 different credit cards are available in the U.S., and he hopes to make his collection complete. Although scholars disagree over the actual location of the biblical Garden of Eden, there's no disputing the locale of Samuel Dinsmore's garden. It's in Kansas, between Paradise and Hell Creek. Adam and Eve, the serpent, the devil, all made of concrete, and all built by one man. It took him 20 years, and he was 64 when he began. Samuel Dinsmore even built his own mausoleum. At 81, he married a 20-year-old woman and fathered 2 children. He died at age 89 and lies today in a glass-covered concrete coffin he built himself. Buried beneath him, out of sight, is his first wife. Dinsmore's will directed that visitors to his mausoleum pay $1. They can look through the glass, he said, and see my face. If I see the dollar, I'll give them a smile. And then there's Colma, a small town, much like so many others in Northern California. A nice place to live, a healthy environment for the kids. Yes, life is good in Colma. Business is pretty good, too, all year round. Lots of flower shops, but even with all the competition, everyone seems to make a living. Quite a few folks here do stone carving. Make a pretty good living at that, too. This being California, of course everybody has a car. But Colma seems to have more than its share of long black limousines. The reason, of course, is that Colma has more than its share of cemeteries, more than any other town its size in the country. Colma's major industry operates on an equal opportunity basis, with congenial accommodations for all religious and ethnic groups, as well as space for those who don't care who occupies the subterranean neighborhood. Sure is a pretty view. No wonder it attracted so many famous people. Just to name a few, publishing giant William Randolph Hearst, Wyatt Earp, legendary gunfighter, and Levi Strauss, the man who put the world in blue jeans. A pet cemetery occupies 15 acres and offers the same kinds of services as all the others. This fascination with funerals, which has led to Colma's undisputed title of Storage City, goes back to the turn of the century, when San Francisco authorities outlawed burials within city limits because of health hazards. A new location for cemeteries was established just outside of town, and all the major city burial grounds and thousands upon thousands of their dead were transferred. Colma, population 731 above ground, and over 1 million below ground. California's thriving city of cemeteries. Believe it or not.
In Longview, Washington, squirrels have their own man-made suspension bridge to cross a busy thoroughfare. Believe it or not.
Steven Tyler, Joe Perry, Howard Stern, and Ben Stiller on the next Anti-Gravity Room, Friday at 6:30 p.m.
These 2 guys have a long day ahead of them and a bad cough. Sergeant Smith is taking Robitussin DM, while Officer Long is taking Vicks 44. How do they compare? Vicks 44 looks and feels more soothing and relieves coughs up to 8 hours, while Robitussin should be taken every 4. So guess who's going for more cough medicine? And who's still going strong? Maximum strength Vicks 44. Get the most from just 1 dose.
would you like to try some Kellogg's Corn Pops?
Thank you.
Go ahead, take 2. Corn Pops today. They're very good.
The problem with a cereal that's made like popcorn, only sweeter,
Just 1, please.
is that it disappears like popcorn, only faster.
What? And how are things going?
Fast.
Kellogg's Corn Pops. It's hard to stop when it's Pops.
He's your best friend, but he's also killing your back. When back pain hits hard, get Dones. Dones is effective back pain medicine. It relieves the pain no matter where it hurts. Dones, the back pain medicine.
Look, Mom, you and me at the movies.
Now for a limited time, get a free movie ticket when you buy a specially marked Magnadoodle. Look for details on the package.
I sure look happy.
You should. Your ticket was free. Magnadoodle.
Nicky has just discovered a new way to park and dry his cars with Charmin Ultra. It's as soft as facial tissue. And it's the strongest one, too. As you can see, the competition is all washed up. It's the perfect combination of softness and strength. Charmin Ultra.
Nicky, honey.
Warning, the following offer is for mature audiences only. Exciting, mysterious, intense, graphic, provocative, raw. This is no ordinary animation. This is the exotic, bizarre, and beautiful world of Japanese anime. And this is your invitation to enter with the modern classic, Akira. Critics say Akira makes Blade Runner look like Disney World. It's action-packed, the future of animation. Siskel and Ebert call it the video pick of the week. Akira is yours for only $4.95 with subscription when you order the Best of Japanese Animation Collection Series. With these state-of-the-art sci-fi classics, you will enter a world beyond imagination, a future out of control, and an experience you will never forget. Don't say we didn't warn you.
Call 1-800-414-1136 now to order Akira for only $4.95 plus $3.59 shipping and handling with subscription. Future volumes are $19.95. All major credit cards accepted. Mature audiences only.
These tubes and vials contain lethal compounds, poisons and explosives with the power to cause instant death. Yet, they are the common tools of chemists, safe in their professional hands, definitely not something to handle carelessly, but we do every day, in many forms, casually, easily. In fact, our lives depend on a combination of deadly gas and highly explosive metal. Deprived of them, we die. This is the gas. Only a few breaths of it would kill you, or me. Just a tiny squirt will wipe out these locusts. This is the explosive. A bit of silvery white metal. It appears innocent enough. But don't believe it. Watch what happens when it's dropped into ordinary water. An explosive, sodium, a deadly gas, chlorine. Alone, each is a potential killer, yet combined in nature, they create a substance which is essential for every living creature. Scientists call it sodium chloride. We call it salt. Ordinary table salt is crystals of sodium chloride, crystals that are always cubes or parts of cubes. In our bodies, the right amount of salt helps keep our nerves, muscles, and digestive systems working properly. Without salt, the body would dry up, suffering convulsions and paralysis before literally dying of thirst. In some places, men still labor to wrest salt from the parched earth as their ancestors did thousands of years ago. At one time, salt was so precious that it was traded nearly ounce for ounce for gold. Even today, entire societies are virtually based on trading for salt. In the Sahara Desert, the Kanuri people are the producers, the buyers are the Tuaregs, who each year journey nearly 1,000 miles just to trade for salt. Neither speaks the other's language, so bargaining sometimes lasts an entire week, conducted in a third language that neither Tuareg nor Kanuri speaks very well. The deal concluded, precious water is applied sparingly to soften the mats protecting the 45-pound sticks of salt. The trek home will be long and arduous. Like salt caravans across the desert, wild animals wear trails in the African savanna, driven by their need for salt. Domestic animals often need help from man. Ranchers in the western United States lay out 50-pound blocks of salt for grazing cattle. High in the mountains of Bhutan, where the yak is the sole source of human livelihood, herdsmen must take special care of their precious animals. Once a month, they force-feed large doses of salt in the primitive but effective way of countless generations. Salt can be harvested by solar evaporation from the limitless supplies of the oceans. A modern plant can produce 6 million tons a year. Salt is also brought up from deep in the earth, and in Poland, the Walicka mine is a national showcase. It began producing over 1,000 years ago. Every inch of space was hewn out of rock salt by hand. In the 17th century, miners began carving salt into statues of saints and royalty. In one underground chapel, 3 centuries of human breath gradually erased the features of the saints, slowly dissolving them to leave statues of salt resembling abstract modern art. Walls, floors, artworks, all made of salt. An underground city whose galleries and corridors extend nearly 200 miles. Today, through much of the world, modern production methods make salt plentiful and cheap. In cold climates, huge amounts are literally thrown away each winter, spread on roads to keep traffic moving after snowstorms. No use is more important than salt's applications in medicine. For years, intravenous infusion of saline liquids has been used to manage loss of blood and to help prevent shock. Dissolved in the body of every healthy adult is 8 ounces, half a pound of salt.
Salt. It's in our blood, sweat, and tears. But too much can be dangerous. To be precise, too much sodium. Salt is 40% sodium, and excessive sodium could cause high blood pressure, which in turn could lead to heart attack, kidney failure, and other ailments. The average healthy adult gets by safely on about 2 grams of sodium a day, roughly 1 teaspoon of salt. The typical American diet may supply up to 3 times that amount. In 1 year, for 1 person. That means over 13 pounds of salt. Believe it or not. Displayed here in the British Museum of Mankind is an archaeological mystery. It has been called the Skull of Doom. A life-size sculpture of a human skull carved in pure crystal. Despite their eminent expertise, the museum curators say little more than it is possibly of Aztec origin, the colonial period at the earliest. Which means that it's at least 500 years old and perhaps even older. But how could this smooth, flawless surface, perfect in every detail, be the result of what we know to be comparatively primitive tools? The experts have no answer. They do know how it got here. The museum bought it via Tiffany's, the New York jewelers, in 1898. But no one knows, or will say, where Tiffany's acquired it. There are vague stories about some mysterious soldier of fortune who returned with it after a trip to Mexico about 100 years ago. But no explanations, no facts. There is only one thing that is certain. At night, the skull is cloaked, its gleaming eyes hidden behind cloth. For in the past, if it wasn't covered, the cleaning staff wouldn't work around it. Believe it or not.
The mysteries of aliens, the magic of Houdini, the miracles of angels. Now the real stories and events are explained in a thrilling original series, Mysteries, Magic, and Miracles, hosted by Patrick McNee. Coming up next.
Segment that was particularly interesting. It was called West of Mars, in which I played 2 characters, Dr. Smith, and I played Zeno, the fastest gun in space.
You surrender nice and peaceful. And remember, if you don't make him think you're Zeno, I'll have you covered and zap.
That was fun to do.
Emptiness. Emptiness.
Had been paying him in phony currency all along. Ilyesa Bosna, the daring master spy, ended his days working as a night watchman, but not on Embassy Row. Believe it or not.
kind of films that I want to make, the stuff that's in my head, I can't do it myself. I need a big army.
James Cameron on the next Masters of Fantasy, today at 6:30 p.m. Eastern.
For his cough, Sergeant Smith is taking Robitussin DM. Officer Long is taking Vicks 44. Vicks 44 relieves coughs up to 8 hours. Robitussin should be taken every 4. So guess who's redosing and who isn't? Vicks 44. Get the most from just one dose.
Now, at Long John Silver's, it's new breaded shrimp and fish. It's crispy, crunchy, and tastes so good. Plus, it comes with tangy coleslaw, crispy French fries, and our famous hush puppies. And right now, for a limited time only, available in a special platter. Long John's delicious shrimp and fish in our new breaded or original batter dip crunch. Hey, it's the one-of-a-kind taste at a one-of-a-kind place. Right here, right now. Only at Long John Silver's.
Enter the Psychic Zone now with 10 free minutes.
It was good. It was really great. I mean, I was surprised to see, him say some of the stuff that he said. Yeah. So specifically.
They knew what type of job I was doing, the field that I was in, and they just really described me very well.
All I gave her was my name and my birth date, and she started telling me everything that was going on in my life that, that nobody else knows.
So it was just right on the money.
It's really great. You'd be really surprised like I am.
Now you can enter the Psychic Zone too with 10 minutes free.
She told me a lot, and she was right. I mean, she knew him well.
Then he did say that I wanted to go in the pediatric field, which is a field that kind of stunned me that he was able to kind of pull that from just talking.
They just tell you everything that you're feeling and you're going through. And it's like they're just sitting right in front of you, looking at you, just reading you.
Enter the Psychic Zone now with 10 minutes free. Call for your free reading.
Call 1-800-281-9939.
Scented panty liners just mask odor, but All Days from Always can actually help absorb it. Their unique odor-absorbing core and dry weave top sheet pull moisture and odor inside. All Days odor-absorbing panty liners. Don't just mask odor, control it.
So you're building that deck with Time Life to help you along. You might want to add some built-in benches. Page 50. How about a brick patio? Guaranteed weed-proof and a lot easier on your checkbook than some contractor would be.
Now with Home Repair, you get 2 books for $2. Order decks, porches, and patios for just $1.99 and get kitchens free.
Those new countertops sure look good, and doing it yourself probably saved a bundle. So you could do that built-in recycling bin she wanted. Step by step, Time Life makes it easy.
With Home Repair, you get professional results at do-it-yourself prices. Use your credit card to order decks for just $1.99 and get kitchens free.
Home Repair makes you a real hero around the house. So why don't you give them a call? They'd probably love to hear from you.
Call 1-800-790-0909 to get 2 books for only $2. Use your credit card to order decks, porches, and patios, and you'll get kitchens free. Or send check or money order for $1.99 plus $3.95 shipping to the address on your screen.
Now Bay, on the west coast of the big island of Hawaii, remote and peaceful, a lonely outpost of a vanishing paradise. Yet it wasn't always quite so peaceful. Imagine the scene that occurred here more than once in the old days. A desperate man plunges into the ocean over there, swimming for his life. Close behind, pursuers determined to catch him and kill him, for he has broken kapu, sacred law, and he must die. He makes it across the bay to these lava rocks, crawling up from the sea, perhaps at this very spot. He's near complete exhaustion, but he is safe, for he has entered Puhuhanua, the place of refuge. He cannot be followed. He cannot be harmed. He has found sanctuary. In the old days, the bones of at least 23 kings and chiefs were kept here in a heiau, a temple, like this. Belief and law said the spiritual power of the bones of the dead protected the fugitive, as did the very gods of refuge themselves. This place of refuge is the only one remaining intact. Priests lived here then and gave fugitives absolution no matter what the offense. Then the refugee could return to his or her normal life without fear of reprisal.
While this custom no longer prevails in Hawaii, others, just as unusual, are still practiced throughout the world. In the Andes Mountains of Bolivia, Indian tribes join together in villages to commemorate the change of season. While the Indians are now Christian, the ritual they've come to celebrate reflects the heritage of a mysterious past. It's called Tinku, meaning encounter, according to the tradition in which most still firmly believe. Every man and woman must baptize the earth with token blood to ensure the future fertility of the soil. There is little, if any, personal hostility between fighters and no reward for emerging the victor. The combat is a symbolic act, yet the blows strike home and actual blood is drawn. Opponents are selected at random. The only rule is that men encounter men and women confront women. And that, in the end, the earth receives their sacrifice. The brawling continues for 3 days. For Indians from the high plains of Bolivia, such violence has been an act of worship, an aggressive appeal for a bountiful harvest. Near Hiroshima, Japan, a similar appeal is expressed by a more gentle ritual. For Shinto priests, the ceremony requires elaborate preparation. It is dictated by a legend which tells of the journey of an ancient god who was led to this place by a pair of crows, bringing good fortune with him. To induce crows to approach, a priest prepares a floating tray of delicacies. After it is set adrift, he can only wait and pray that the birds will again be attracted to this now sacred place. The ceremony is called Otukui. It is thought that if 2 crows retrieve the cakes, it will be a good year for all believers. Unless another appears, the ritual will have been in vain. It is also thought that if there is even one sinner amongst the worshippers, their prayers will be denied. For the devout, the coming of the crows is as much an assurance of good luck as in Spain the feast day of Saint Firmin is a promise of potential misfortune. A 400-year-old tradition begins solemnly each July 7th, but is soon transformed into one of the most colorful and raucous festivals of the European summer. The city is Pamplona. Many of the thousands of outsiders, thrill seekers, romantics, and curious tourists have been drawn here by an American writer's vivid description of the week-long celebration. It was Ernest Hemingway's 1926 novel, The Sun Also Rises, that brought Pamplona its notoriety. The morning of July 8th, the starting rockets are readied. Anxiety mounts. Preparations are complete as emergency medical equipment is put in place. In seconds, it will begin, what the Spanish call the encierro, the running of the bulls. From bullpen to bull ring is a distance of only 1,000 yards, but anything can happen along the narrow street called Santo Domingo. What authorities fear on this dangerous street happens today. A bull breaks from the herd to attack a vulnerable runner on the left side of the street. The victim is viciously hooked on the wall before the bull's attention is attracted to the other side of the street. There he finds two men trapped in a doorway. To lure the bull away, a brave Pamplonan rushes forward with a folded newspaper. He succeeds, and in so doing, has most likely saved lives. Once in the Plaza de Toros, the mayhem is magnified. The illusion of safety in numbers makes the young men bolder and more daring than they were in the narrow street. Some say they have come to experience the moment of truth. Others to prove their bravery to sweethearts, comrades, or themselves. Painful gorings are commonplace, but that is often the price paid for running against the bulls in Pamplona. This man will be hospitalized, yet for those who survive such an encounter, the scars may become a badge of honor, a source of future pride. Not all, however, live to boast of their courage. So far in this century, 12 young men have been killed. Despite the danger, or perhaps because of it, Pamplona is a magnet for young men seeking an escape from the humdrum. For them, to challenge the bulls each summer is a risk that is worth the glory. Believe it or not. Men of the Bahil tribe of India believe being suspended from a hook while wearing women's clothing is a cure for infertility. Believe it or not.
We do everything together. In this family, it's just me and Mom. We share responsibilities. We even share clothes. Money's tight. Everything's got to go further. Clothes have got to last, no matter how many times you wash them.
Intensified Tide Ultra 2. A unique cleaning system washes away many tough stains better than leading detergents and helps clean away the fuzz that can make cottons look old.
When clothes look new, it's like a whole new attitude.
Tide Ultra 2. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide.
Enter the Psychic Zone now with 10 free minutes.
It was good. It was really great. I mean, I was surprised to see, him say some of the stuff that he said.
Yeah.
So specifically.
And they knew what type of job I was doing, the field that I was in, and they just really described me very well.
All I gave her was my name and my birthday, and she started telling me everything that was going on in my life that, that nobody else knows.
So it was just right on the money.
It's really great. You'd be really surprised like I am.
Now you can enter the Psychic Zone 2 with 10 minutes free.
She told me a lot, and she was right. I mean, she knew him well.
Then he did say that I wanted to go in the pediatric field, which is a field that kind of stunned me that he was able to kind of pull that from just talking.
They just tell you everything that you're feeling and you're going through. And it's like they're just sitting right in front of you, looking at you, just reading you.
Enter the Psychic Zone now with 10 minutes free. Call for your free reading.
Call 1-800-980-8551.
You've probably noticed all of these commercials about yeast infection treatments. They talk about how effective they are.
Even so, if you read the labels, you'll notice there's only one 3-day treatment that comes in the comfortable cream form most women prefer. FemStat 3. It's the only cream out there that treats in 3 days.
3 days? There is no better cure without a prescription.
And what could be better than that?
FemStat 3, the cure that fits your life.
For the first time on television, Sydney Bloom has come home in search of clues to her mysterious past.
Someone or something is watching over you, Sydney.
But what she discovers may confirm her darkest fears. On a never-before-seen episode of VR5. Tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, Sci-Fi Tuesday.
This week on a special New Edge, cloning, miracle or mistake. 7 p.m. Eastern, Sci-Fi Wednesday.
At this tender age, the sex organs of a chick are barely formed.
It takes a knowing and very delicate touch to tell male from female without doing damage. Hamer Carlson has been determining the sex of chickens and turkeys here in Petaluma, California for nearly half a century.
Using a method called venting and aided by magnified glasses, he can distinguish between the male chick's barely visible protruding sex organ and the female's flat one. Since he works by the piece, Mr. Carlson has kept records. He's done this job more than 50 million times so far, with an accuracy rate of 99%.
It may seem a bizarre way to make a living, but then wherever there's a job to be done, someone somewhere, sooner or later, will be willing to tackle it.
Dominating the beautiful Bay of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, a 13-story high statue of Christ rests serenely atop a mountain peak. Since its completion in 1931, the statue has been one of the city's most admired attractions, a must for both tourists and the devout. From amidst the crowd, two men with buckets, the Ferreiro brothers, are about to begin a unique assignment, for which they first volunteered in 1962. The statue had never been cleaned before the two men offered to do the job, a religious gesture of thanks for the prosperity they had enjoyed from selling souvenirs below. Twice a year they would undertake the perilous job, washing down with soap and water the 30-yard-long arms and 20-foot-high head of the sacred monument. The government finally decided the work was too dangerous. After 12 years of dedication, the brothers had to stop, leaving the job to be carried on by the wind and the rain. The ranchers in this remote part of eastern California don't often get into town. The nearest one is called Loyalton, population 1,200. For 30 years now, the Sierra Booster has been the newspaper that keeps everyone up to date on the local goings-on. Hal Wright and his wife, Aline, put out the paper every 2 weeks. While being a publisher isn't an unusual occupation, Hal's manner of distributing the Booster certainly is.
I do not deliver papers the normal way that other paper boys do. Some of them do it on foot and throw it by hand. Others do it on a bicycle. But I have a new way, and I think it's better. It certainly is faster, and it's a lot more fun.
For more than a quarter of a century, Hal Wright has been delivering his paper by air to outlying ranches. The only flying newsboy in the country, he's also, at 79, one of the oldest licensed pilots. He seldom hits the subscriber's front porch, but long experience keeps him close to the mark. Hardly a money-making venture, Hal regards it as a community service and, well, a good excuse to fly. Not long ago, however, it looked like he'd run into trouble.
I was flying over a ranch house, and I threw a booster out, and a truck driver saw it. And he thought, hey, I've seen a narcotics drop. So he went to the nearest phone and he called the sheriff's office. Well, I didn't know that happened, so I'm flying around another hour and finally came back to the airport, and here the deputies were. They questioned me, but I showed them what I was doing, and they let me go.
In downtown Manhattan, within the complex called the World Trade Center, resides the Commodities Exchange Center. Here in the pit, gold and silver futures are bought and sold, as well as fossil fuels, cotton, and orange juice. Also traded are cocoa, sugar, and one of the world's most valuable commodities, coffee. A floor below, samples of current coffee shipments are quietly graded. These testers will determine whether or not the beans qualify to provide the brew to fill our coffee cups. Only 24 testers are certified by the exchange. Regarded as the best in the business, they work mainly in commercial coffee trading houses. After the raw beans are roasted in machines dating back a century, the coffee is ground. Then, each sample lot is steep brewed in 3 cups. Each 3 cups represents about 37,000 pounds of beans delivered to the coffee exchange warehouses. Aroma is an important quality to be tested. It shouldn't be too earthy in smell, an indication of substandard growing conditions. The slurping process then begins. This is the final test to determine if the fresh coffee is sweet in the cup, as the professionals call it. It's never swallowed, but swished around the taster's trained palate. Justin Colton has been a tester with the exchange for 20 of his more than 30 years in the business.
Mulling over in my own mind as to how many cups I've actually tasted in my career in the coffee business, and as large as it may sound, I've come up with a number of about 900,000 cups.
One might expect a professional coffee tester to prefer another beverage after a long day at the office, but the rendezvous spot for Justin and his colleagues is where else? Believe it or not.
Sherpas, the professional porters of Nepal, use needle and thread to patch the flesh on soles of their feet. Believe it or not.
You've probably noticed all of these commercials about yeast infection treatments. They talk about how effective they are.
Even so, if you read the labels, you'll notice there's only one 3-day treatment that comes in the comfortable cream form most women prefer. Femstat 3. It's the only cream out there that treats in 3 days. 3 days? There is no better cure without a prescription. And what could be better than that?
Femstat 3, the cure that fits your life.
Oh, I'm glad this day is over.
Hey, you okay?
My arthritis. I could use some aspirin.
I've got some Tylenol.
No, I need something for the inflammation.
Beth, that's old news. My doctor told me most minor arthritis pain isn't caused by inflammation.
Osteoarthritis pain is caused by the wear and tear of joints, and Tylenol is the pain reliever doctors recommend most.
Maybe you'll start listening to me now?
Only about Tylenol.
Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
Would you like to try some Kellogg's Corn Pops?
Thank you.
Go ahead, take 2. Corn Pops today. They're very good.
The problem with a cereal that's made like popcorn, only sweeter,
Just one, please.
is that it disappears like popcorn, only faster.
What?
And how are things going?
Fast.
Kellogg's Corn Pops. It's hard to stop when it's Pops.
As a receptionist, I try to help our patients feel comfortable, like Kate. The first time she came here, she had a cavity. To protect against this, our dentist recommends Crest. Crest can actually help reverse the early stage of tooth decay, like this weak spot. Because the fluoride in Crest's patented formula penetrates the weak spot and can actually help stop a cavity from forming. And more dentists have their very own kids brush with Crest than all others combined.
Hey, Mom, no cavities!
The dentist's choice is Crest Protection.
Find out which movie Sci-Fi viewers pick for the Ugliest Monster Award. We'll announce the winner and show the flick you picked in its entirety during the Sci-Fi Channel's You Pick 'em Awards, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern.
The finest collectibles the Federation has to offer can now be yours on a special all-Star Trek edition of the Sci-Fi Traders Cool Stuff from the Cosmos, 6 p.m. Eastern, Sci-Fi Saturday.
Gordon, right?
Yes. Have you ever worked with anything high-tech?
No.
Thank you for the resume.
But we're looking for someone with
More education.
Some experience.
Good luck to you.
What you don't know can hurt you. So let ITT Tech help. Call 1-800-942-0099 for an informative brochure. That's 1-800-942-0099.
Next. Sure, my old job gave me a paycheck, but it didn't give me much else. So I called ITT Tech. I always liked electronics, and with their help, I was able to turn what I like to do into what I'm paid to do. Now I have a job that gives me some real satisfaction, and something I never had before, a real future.
For an informative brochure, call ITT Tech at 1-800-942-0099. That's 1-800-942-0099.
At one time, all horses looked like this. Short, bushy, with a big head, and a less than friendly disposition. There's a good reason why there's a moat filled with boulders between the public here at the San Diego Zoo and that stallion. He's unpredictable and extremely dangerous. Even his keepers have to approach him with great caution, for this horse has never been tamed, bridled, or broken to the saddle. He is the unchanged model of the original version that grazed freely over 1 million years ago. A specimen of the oldest horse in the world. They're called the Przhmalski horse, named for the Russian explorer who discovered them in the Mongolian desert in 1879. They are living fossils, the long missing link in the evolutionary chain that produced every horse in the world. Temperamentally, the bucking horse is clearly related to his Russian ancestor. He simply won't accept the idea that he was meant to be ridden, even for the 8 seconds required in rodeo competition. Broncos can't be bred to be ornery and independent. They have to be born that way, or turn sour, as the riders say, after they've grown. This horse, High Tide, is considered one of the best bucking broncos in the history of the sport. A great-grandson of the legendary thoroughbred Man o' War, he was an average saddle horse until the age of 14, when he turned sour and began bucking riders high in the sky. For 20 years, High Tide has been a favorite of the top riders because, whether they win or lose, he always delivers a good, bumpy ride. At 34, High Tide is the oldest horse on the circuit. In human terms, he is about 102 years old and is still going strong. In Vienna, each morning at 6:30, traffic on this street is halted to permit the pride of Austria to cross from their stables to the training academy, where a full day's work awaits them in a setting of old-world elegance. Acknowledged throughout the world as a unique breed, the Lipizans are masters of an art called dressage. Complex maneuvers and formations accomplished without the riders giving any perceptible commands. Centuries ago, their ancestors led kings into battle, prepared with these awesome defensive moves. After a hard day's training, heat treatments are administered to relax the muscles. As for any top athlete, the body must be continually toned. The Lipizan is pampered and treated gently at all times. For the rider, the horse becomes a constant companion. It is a relationship of trust that sometimes can last as long as 20 years. Training begins at age 3, and it usually takes 4 years to prepare for a showing such as this. In a performance that resembles a ballet, the Lipizan displays the results of a 4-century-old tradition of man and horse working in perfect harmony. In Central Asia, another horse has been bred to work as one with his rider, but for a totally different purpose. A calfskin filled with sand has been soaked in water. It weighs some 80 pounds and will become the center of a violent competition. Both the sport and horse are called bouskashi, and there's nothing quite like either anywhere else in the world. The object of the game is to scoop up the heavy calfskin and hold on to it while fighting off the opposing team. To win, they must race around both goals and drop it in the victory circle. Yet it is the horse, as much as the rider, that determines the outcome. Allowed to run free for 3 years before first mounted by his rider, he is taught to endure extreme heat, blinding dust, and, most importantly, to know no fear. The rider must have complete confidence in the speed and courage of his horse. Otherwise, bouskashi, a violent sport to begin with, would become a deadly game. For the English, pageantry and horses are synonymous. Few other animals enjoy such an honored place in royal tradition. Entertaining at her country cottage, Celia Knight takes the English love for horses to an extreme.
Sam?
Sam is 4, and I've had him for 6 months now. He just loves human beings. He's very, very fond of all of us. And he knows I adore him, and in return, he seems to love me.
Hi, Sam. Going to say. That's just one thing.
Of course, he is a common sort of horse. Sounds rather rude. He's not a thoroughbred. And I wouldn't ask any horse into a house. But he's very placid. So he usually comes in about once a week after lunch, when we're all sitting round having coffee in the sitting room. Well, as far as house training is concerned, that's something that we've never consciously taught him. But he hasn't had an accident yet. So we just live in hope. I have a feeling that the time that he does disgrace himself, that'll be the end of his invitations into the drawing room.
Affection for horses takes many forms.
But even the most loving cowpoke couldn't hold a candle to a horse lover of ancient time, the Roman Emperor Caligula. Caligula was cruel to his subjects, but kind to his horse, whose name was Incitatus. Incitatus drank his water from a golden bowl. When he was groomed, musicians serenaded him. On holidays, when noisy crowds gathered, guards were specially posted to enforce a rule of silence outside his palace. That's right. Caligula's horse lived in his own palace, completely furnished and carpeted. There was even a banquet hall, and the Roman citizen who refused an invitation to dine with Incitatus risked death. But then, Caligula surpassed himself by bestowing an honor on Incitatus which has assured his fame for nearly 2,000 years. At the emperor's orders, which no one dared defy, his favorite horse was given a seat in one of the most important and august bodies of the ancient world. The horse Incitatus was made a Roman senator. Not long after, Caligula's rule was abruptly terminated by some of his closest aides. They assassinated him. Some historians feel a factor contributing to their rage and disgust was Incitatus's elevation to the Senate. It was simply the last straw. Believe it or not.
Veteran jockey Bill Shoemaker has raced over 25,000 miles, a distance equal to the circumference of the Earth. Believe it or not.
Steven Tyler, Joe Perry, Howard Stern, and Ben Stiller on the next Anti-Gravity Room, Friday at 6:30 p.m.
For really tough messes, you don't want to use a sponge because it can redeposit germs that have grown inside. Try Bounty. It's quilted. With durability closer to a sponge, it won't fall apart like this ordinary paper towel. So you avoid using sponges that can redeposit germs. It has quicker absorbency, too. And you throw the germs away.
The quilted quicker picker-upper.
Bounty trashes the germs.
I can't believe it. She knew all about me, and all I told her was my name and my birth date.
It was amazing. She saw me back in school, and I just sent for a training course.
She told me that I had got a promotion on my job, and that's true.
And the sample reading is free.
One of the most incredible things that she asked me was if I had a fear of water, and it's true.
It's like they've known you your whole life.
I just planned a trip to Europe this summer. This is really true. She said I'd meet a tall Mediterranean man.
I asked my psychic about children in my future, and she saw 2, possibly twins.
When I asked my psychic about the relationship I'm in now, she said not only will it last, but it's going to a higher level.
Get your free 10 minutes now from Psychic Readers Network. Get the free time you need. Call now for 10 minutes free.
PRN has the best psychics.
You get a great reading, and it's free.
Why do you think I let you call from my house?
Get your 10 minutes free. Call now.
Call 1-800-376-8465.
Unfortunately, these women have an overnight flight and a cough. The woman in first class is taking Robitussin DM, while the woman in coach is taking Vicks 44. How do they compare? Vicks 44 looks and feels more soothing and relieves coughs up to 8 hours, while Robitussin should be taken every 4. So while this woman might have the better seat, guess who's having the better flight? 8-hour Vicks 44. Get the most from just 1 dose.
10 cents may not look like much to you, but sign up for Sprint Cents Long Distance now, and you'll be amazed at what this little dime can do.
Every time I get another dime, I think about calling my agent for just 10 cents a minute. So what if he puts me on hold?
Barb, your agent's on the phone.
Coming. Yes.
Funny. Ever since I got Sprint's dime a minute rate, I can call anywhere in the country and know exactly what I'm paying every month. Nothing surprises me. Hi.
Suddenly, it all makes sense. I work all day, so at 10 cents a minute nights and weekends, I can give myself the green light to talk.
Call now and you'll get an extra bonus. 200 minutes free.
Of course, I could pay more nights and weekends, but that wouldn't make sense.
To me, the biggest bonus is I get 10% cash back.
That's cool. With Sprint Cents, it all makes sense. See for yourself. Call now, 1-800-913-9731.
Jack in to the Dominion, the home of science fiction on the web, and let your imagination run wild with Seeing Ear Theater, a listening adventure for your mind. Surf through time and hear lost radio dramas. Enjoy new, twisted tales of intrigue and experience classic stories in a brand new way. Rattle your senses. Seeing Ear Theater, only on the Dominion. You won't believe where your ears will take you. The Dominion at www.sci-fi.com.
The Variety Arts Center in downtown Los Angeles is a very special building for what it once was and is once again becoming. Since the mid-'70s, a major restoration project has been in progress both outside and inside the center. It has become a permanent home for old scripts, gag files, props, playbills, and pictures. All the valuable memorabilia of the Variety Theater of America. There's a nostalgia that you can almost reach out and touch when you walk up onto a stage as rich in theatrical tradition as this one. Opened as a civic-minded ladies' club in the 20s, it soon became a showplace for comedy, drama, and musicals. After those boom times, however, the theater experienced a series of lean years. Now, once again, it echoes to the sound, the excitement of live entertainment. Like this. Gene Bell has been dancing before the public since he was 10 years old. His enviable talent has brought pleasure to countless thousands throughout the world. And at age 67, he's still in demand.
Thank you. Now we're going on down the avenue. Now catch this. Oh, look at here.
Most experts agree that tap dancing is an authentic American creation, originating in urban ghettos where Irish immigrants and free blacks intermingled in the 1840s. A blend of clog dance, Irish jig, and African tribal steps, it has moved gracefully over the years from minstrel shows and vaudeville to the movies and television. Its popularity seems to be reaching ever new heights, if this street event in Minneapolis, Minnesota is any indication. To celebrate the opening of an arts center, more than 1,800 citizens volunteered, rehearsed, and finally performed a record-making tap dance spectacle. To tap dance, all that's required, for beginners at least, is enthusiasm, some sense of rhythm, and a small investment in a pair of metal taps. In Longbow Village in northern China, however, a unique folk dance makes a far greater demand on the performer. The dancing is choreographed entirely on stilts. Believed this custom began during the Ming Dynasty, when wood had become a scarce commodity in the region. Unable to build stages, dancers and actors elevated themselves on stilts in order to be seen by their audience. Most dances are lighthearted in nature and depict popular stories. In this skit, a clown constantly interferes with a suitor's courtship of his beloved. The butterfly is a playful object of affection. Traditionally, all the characters are played by men. The audience knows the sweethearts will be united once the clown is out of the way, and they know how he'll be foiled. In New York, a form of folk dance has recently emerged quite different from anything before it. It's called breakdancing, an improvised, breathtaking mixture of gymnastics, dance steps, and martial arts movements. With a piece of cardboard as its dance floor, a team called the New York Breakers shows off some routines to potential new recruits. Originating in the Bronx, breakdancing has shifted the energy of many teenage gangs from street fighting to street dancing, competing creatively in public.
Ridge.
Some experts predict that breakdancing is not a passing fancy, but will become a permanent part of America's gift to the world of dance. Believe it or not.
This is Westminster Abbey, one of the most historic churches in the world. Kings and queens of England have been crowned here for almost 1,000 years. Some have been buried here, along with many other famous figures from Britain's past. Among the celebrated dead, an obscure man named Thomas Parr, laid to rest in this place of special honor on November 15th, 1635. For an odd reason indeed. Parr had been brought to London from his tiny village home and presented to King Charles because of his extraordinary reputation. They said he was the oldest man in the land, having achieved the truly incredible age of 152 years. Witty, wise, and charming, Parr became an instant favorite of the court, and then he died. Less than 2 months later, cause of death, the city's impure air and the radical change in his formerly simple diet. Ceaselessly wined and dined by his newfound admirers, Parr had succumbed to an overabundance of good food, rich sauces, and fine wines. His hosts were terribly embarrassed. After all, they had literally killed their guest with kindness. King Charles made it up to him as best he could by laying the old country gentleman to rest here in the company of kings and queens, poets, and statesmen. Thomas Parr, born 1483, buried here November 15th, 1635. 152 years. Believe it or not.
Meet the creator of The Terminator and The Abyss when Masters of Fantasy presents James Cameron, tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Later, find out which movie Sci-Fi viewers chose for the Ugliest Monster Award when the Sci-Fi Channel's You Pick 'em Awards begin tonight. We'll announce the winner and show the flick you picked in its entirety beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern. Now, stay tuned for mysteries, magic, and miracles. SFC next.
They serve a useful purpose as teaching aids in the education of future doctors. She did not die screaming. The facial distortion is the result of simple muscle decomposition. She died almost 200 years ago here in Philadelphia. She was extremely fat, and when she was buried, the soil reacted with her body fat to transform her flesh into a soapy, waxy substance and preserve her corpse for future study. Known to medical students only as J.W., this gentleman died of a rare and tragic disorder. His lower intestine, the colon, grew to enormous size and caused his death. Diagnosis, functional obstruction. This is the giant that killed him. A distended and fatally enlarged colon. This is the skeleton of a human infant. It is a tragic event. Two bodies attached to a single head. It is a frightening, but thankfully, very rare occurrence.
Positively, there are all ways to make your life healthier and happier. That's it. Good. We all need a little more oomph, a little more inspiration, constant positive affirmations to help us through a day. We all love the little tips. We just got a couple more. Come on, really feel it. I'm feeling it because we stood on that leg for so long. You'll start to feel this a little quicker. Last one. Beautiful. Now let's sweep across. Good. Across. Remember now, this is targeting the inner thighs. I want you to focus on feeling it. Feel it. That's it. It's right here. It's feeling it. The inner thighs. Feel it. Good. Tighten it up, the inner thigh. No more jigglies in there. Come on. That's it. Beautiful. You got it. Working those inner legs. This works all the way down those inner knees. So if you feel you have flabby inner knees, this will help firm it up. Muscle takes beautiful shape. You can reshape your whole body with the muscles working. Good muscle tone. That's right. There's so much research out now about good muscle tone. Good. Two more. Then we hold it up. Last one. Okay, now those little pulses. Come on. Press it up. Squeeze it in. Squeeze it. Ooh, that's a killer. Flex your foot. That's great. The knee should be facing me, okay? Good. Tight, tight, tight. All right, beautiful. Bring your knee in and out. Figure 8. Figure 8. That's it. Good. Figure 8. That's it. Bring your knee forward and out. Excellent. This is ballerinas do to really help with their hips and thighs. Good. You're doing great. That's it. Work those legs. Work them. Just a few more now. No problem. We can do it, right? Good. Forward. Last one. Good.
The ways fungi have found to spread their spores are as varied as the fungi themselves. Sometimes the action is like a machine gun. This species requires assistance from the animal world. It's called the stinkhorn, and when its spores are ready, it begins to look decayed. It earns its name by producing a stench that simulates the smell of rotting meat. Spreading through the forest, the putrid odor attracts insects looking for a meal. As the fly gorges itself, spores stick to its body, to be spread by the insect when it leaves and lands elsewhere. And where there's one fly, more usually follow. Of all the members of the third kingdom, one of the strangest is the slime mold. It can move on its own. Slime mold surrounds and engulfs almost everything in its path and then digests it. It is feeding itself as it goes, resembling a creature from a horror movie. Fungi don't only grow in the woods and fields, they thrive everywhere. Roquefort cheese. It tastes like it tastes because of this. The blue specks that are a living fungus. Tastes pretty good. We eat fungi all the time. Mushrooms, of course. And bread. A vital element in the making of bread is yeast, which is a fungus. And wine, too, owes its existence to fungus. This powdery substance that clings to the skin is also a fungus. It helps turn grape juice into wine. Of course, if you don't use the fungus to make bread or cheese or wine, then the fungus will go into action all by itself. Meal happily digested. Fungus style. Believe it or not.
These are the elements of a minor miracle. A 5-cent piece, a simple wooden match, an ordinary water glass. Put them together, and you create an interesting test of your ingenuity. A nickel balanced on its edge with a wooden match balanced on it. Then cover them with the water glass. Now, to try for the miraculous. Remove the match from the nickel without touching the glass and without touching or knocking over the nickel. The coin must remain on its edge. Let's test the possibilities. Maybe by blowing on the glass, air could get under the edge. It doesn't work. The seal around the glass is complete. How about gently moving the table? That's good. It works. The match falls, but so does the coin. So, how is it to be done? Well, that's where the miracle comes in. And to demonstrate it, I've got an identical arrangement here. To remove the match from the coin without touching the glass or the table, you have to have a magnetic personality or a magic wand in the form of a comb. A quick bit of grooming creates static electricity and presto. The match falls off. The coin remains on edge. Believe it or...
Okay, some calf raises. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. This is now working on the calf muscles. the bottom part of the leg. That's right. If you have more shape to the bottom part, the whole leg looks a lot better. Gives more balance. But if you have big thighs and no calf muscle at all, your legs appear even bigger. So your goal is to streamline the thighs and have some shape to the calf muscle, because then it really gives your thigh more balance to appear thinner too. Good. That's it. Beautiful. Lift up higher. Good. Great for those legs. Beautiful. 2 more. Stay up there now. Last one. Stay up there. Hold it, hold it, hold it. All right, we did it. Beautiful. Let's stretch out those calves. Stretch them out. Oh boy, that feels good. Hold. Stretching, the best part of the day. I love it. Unwinds you, releases that tension, gives you the ability to relax. So if you ever are tense, start stretching. Take good deep breaths. It helps to reduce tension and it helps you to relax. Good. Switch legs. Switch legs. Your goal is to try to get your heel flat back there, and don't turn your knee out like this. Keep your heel straight back, almost as if you're on a balance beam. Your both legs are straight forward, facing forward. That's it. Good. Hold the stretch. Feels great. You did wonderfully today. It was a good workout. That step aerobics really helps. You burn fat, and plus what happens is you work the muscles of the lower body, which we all need extra help, right? Good. Okay, let's stretch the legs, the front of your thighs, the quadriceps, by just holding your body upright. Can you think about good posture now? If you feel balanced, go ahead and give it a try. With no hands, if you can. Try to focus. Try to think about your abs. Are they pulled in? It's the center of your whole body, your abs. It's the core. All throughout the day, try to pull in the abs, because your abs are the center of your whole body.
So let ITT Tech help. Call 1-800-942-0099 for an informative brochure. That's 1-800-942-0099.
Next.
I'd always been into electronics.
Like what you do?
But I just thought there wasn't time.
Do what you like.
Then I thought, 2 years from now, I can still be hating my job. Or I could be graduating from ITT Tech. Yeah, I lose some sleep, but I don't get tired like I used to. You know, it just doesn't feel like work.
Like what you do.
Call 1-800-942-0099 for details. 1-800-942-0099.
A simple equation formulated in 1905 by Albert Einstein describes the relationship between energy and matter.
E is equal mc square, in which energy is put equal to mass multiplied with the square of the velocity of light, showed that very small amount of mass may be converted into a very large amount of energy.
40 years later, the application of Einstein's theory ushered in the atomic age.
Rarely does a single instant change history forever. But such an instant did occur here at Hiroshima at precisely 16 minutes past 8 on that summer morning. In that instant, this woman's watch was frozen forever. At the same moment, someone was sitting here on these steps when they were part of a bank building. The terrible heat and light released by the bomb bleached the stone, except where it was shielded by a human body, creating this grisly silhouette. The body itself was completely incinerated, vaporized. Nothing else remains of that life, not even a name. But the name of the city will be remembered forever: Hiroshima. In the hills of New Mexico in 1943, Hiroshima's fate was being sealed by a vast secret enterprise.
Here, the American government created a city, Los Alamos, a carefully guarded base for a massive, coordinated effort by some of the world's most prominent scientists. The immense effort was headed by physicist Robert Oppenheimer. Its goal, the creation of a bomb capable of transforming matter into energy, an atomic bomb. America knew Nazi Germany was pursuing an atomic program of its own. There was an urgent need to turn Einstein's theory into a weapon as soon as possible. The plan had the highest wartime priority. Over $2 billion were secretly spent. Entire factories built to supply needed elements. In one instance, a shortage of copper threatened to delay construction of a giant electromagnet. To stay on schedule, over $500 million worth of silver was taken from the U.S. Treasury and turned into wire. Nothing was allowed to hold up the project. By July 1945, the bomb was ready. A remote stretch of desert near Alamogordo, New Mexico, was the test site. The bomb would be placed at the top of a 100-foot steel tower. This was ground zero. No one was sure what would happen. The bomb might set off a chain reaction and destroy the planet. It might not even work at all, or they would soon know if they had succeeded in creating the world's most powerful weapon. Central control was located 5.5 miles from ground zero. Scientists and other observers were stationed in concrete bunkers to the north, south, and west of the tower. July 16th, 1945. The test had originally been scheduled for 4 a.m. Intermittent rain caused delay. At last, just before 5:30 a.m., the decision was made to go ahead. A last warning flare was fired. Over the loudspeakers, a voice called out the final countdown. 0 minus 10.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
E equals MC squared had been theory. The atomic bomb was now a fact. In the Pacific, the war against Japan was costing thousands of lives every day on both sides. Massive air assaults against Japan itself were killing huge numbers of civilians, yet the leaders of Japan were prepared to sacrifice millions more in defense of the homeland. Faced with this situation, President Harry Truman, after prolonged consideration, decided to use the bomb to shorten the war and thereby save millions of lives. During the months of May and June 1945, planes from the 509th Air Group landed on the island of Tinian, 1,400 miles from Japan. For 9 months, they had secretly trained for a single mission. The lead plane, the plane that would carry the bomb, was called the Enola Gay. The ordnance expert in charge refused to arm the bomb on the ground. Takeoff from Tinian was hazardous. If the Enola Gay crashed with the bomb armed, everyone on the island might be killed. Only hours before takeoff was the mission's full scope revealed by the Enola Gay's pilot, Colonel Paul Tibbets.
When we met at Wendover for the first time about 10 months ago, I told you at that time that I had great hopes that the mission that we were about to undertake could end the war. At the same time, I offered to release any man who felt that he could not work under the conditions of mystery and possible danger that might prevail. That offer still goes, because this bomb that you're going to use is not an ordinary bomb. It's not a 1,000-pounder. It's not a 10-ton blockbuster. This bomb has the strength of 20,000 tons of TNT.
2:45 a.m., August the 6th, 1945. Specially equipped, heavily laden, the Enola Gay needed every foot of Tinian's runway for the takeoff. Flight time to target depicted here in assembled footage would be just about 6.5 hours. The Enola Gay was joined in flight by 2 other B-29s, carrying observation personnel and equipment. There were 3 possible targets, depending on the weather: the cities of Kokura, Nagasaki, or Hiroshima. A weather plane flying ahead radioed that skies were clear over the primary target, Hiroshima, which until then had largely been spared aerial attack. People had grown used to American bombers passing far overhead. No air raid warning was sounded as the Enola Gay approached, and its bombardier searched for his aiming point, a bridge. A signal tone locked the plane on course for the final seconds. It would take the bomb 43 seconds to fall nearly 6 miles. In that terrible instant, about 2 pounds of pure uranium were transformed into pure energy. A proximity fuse had triggered the bomb here, 1,900 feet above the city. An altitude calculated to give the blast maximum effect. One bomb, in 1 fraction of a second, had obliterated a city. Over 4 square miles of buildings had disappeared. Over 70,000 people died outright or soon after. Tens of thousands more were injured by the shock wave, the heat, the radiation. People near ground zero were literally vaporized. In that instant, the atomic age was born.
As a receptionist here, I can tell you that in this office, if you haven't been using the right toothpaste, the dentist lets you know it.
Wrong toothpaste?
When he goes like this, it means you've got a tartar problem. But this means you've been brushing with Crest Tartar Control.
Tartar forms especially at the gum line, and regular toothpaste can't block that tartar. But Crest has patented tartar blockers that help reduce visible tartar buildup.
How'd it go?
Yeah. The dentist's choice is Crest Protection.
Ooh, these feel good. Lauren, come on, let me see.
Yeah.
Come on.
If you've been working for a favorite look,
Those are great.
Yeah? Part of getting that look should be including Kellogg's Special K. Great toasted taste, 110 calories, and fat-free.
Buy them. Buy
Kellogg's Special K. Great taste never looks so good.
Yeah.
Because 5 minutes can turn into 15. Because 350 degrees is different on your mother's oven. Because gas isn't the same as electric. Because sometimes you just forget. At the end of the day, greasy pots and pans everywhere need Dawn. Dawn cuts stuck-on grease better than any other liquid, even on pots and pans. Whatever you can dish out, Dawn can handle it. Dawn's the best at taking tough grease out of your way.
Every year I try to quit smoking cold turkey. But this year is my year. I'm committed. I'm psyched. And I have help, Nicorette gum, to help control my cravings. It's not like the patch. Nicorette lets me decide how much nicotine to use and when to use it, so I can stop smoking now. The idea is by this time next year to save enough money by not smoking to be not smoking in Cancun.
Nicorette gum will help you quit smoking successfully by helping you control your cravings. You can do it. Nicorette can help.
Patty really tears it up in the kitchen.
Garlic chicken. You marinate in Crisco vegetable oil.
Crisco's light.
Yeah.
Purified 4 ways to taste light.
Crisco lets the chicken
Taste like it ought to taste.
Great meals start here. Crisco.
Jack in to the Dominion, the home of science fiction on the web, and let your imagination run wild with Seeing Ear Theater, a listening adventure for your mind. Surf through time and hear lost radio dramas. Enjoy new, twisted tales of intrigue and experience classic stories in a brand new way. Rattle your senses. Seeing Ear Theater, only on the Dominion. You won't believe where your ears will take you. The Dominion at www.sci-fi.com.
It looks ominous, like an instrument for torture and death, or perhaps for reading your mind. These tubes are called head probes, and they help determine what's going on deep inside your brain. This helmet is part of a space-age system. Doctors use it when they need to get a quick look at the way the blood is circulating through a patient's brain, something that used to be impossible without exploratory surgery or direct injection of radioactive isotopes. The patient breathes in a mixture of air and a gas called xenon-133. Xenon-133 is radioactive. It's absorbed into the patient's blood, and then, as that blood circulates through the brain, the probe tracks its course. That may sound as frightening as the helmet looks, but xenon's radiation level is low and dissipates quickly. It's quite safe. Computers process the information from the probes, turning it into numbers and graphics that give doctors an instant picture of conditions on both sides of the brain. Doctors can take a quick look at the probe's findings as they pop onto a TV screen, or take a computerized graphic printout as a permanent record for future reference. High-tech engineering, electronics, computers, even radioactivity. New weapons in the continuing battle to preserve and extend human life. In Perth, the capital city of Western Australia, patients are undergoing physical therapy for rehabilitation. They are benefiting from the innovative work of Dr. William Honig. Under his direction, computer technicians have developed a new concept in video games. For patients confined to wheelchairs as a result of accident or disease, physical therapy is vital but often boring. To make simple, repetitive exercises into an entertaining break in routine, patients are taught how to play specially programmed video games. Raphael Wilson suffers from a nerve-damaging disease. For him, the game is a way to regain hand-eye coordination. The goal of the game is for a patient to manipulate the electronic mouse through a maze without allowing it to touch the side walls. The patient benefits whether he wins the game or not.
So I'm just going to press this number D.
For a partially paralyzed stroke victim, a game was devised to reward her efforts to regain the use of her left arm.
Just here at this elbow.
Her therapist explains how it works.
Now, it won't give you any points for when you're coming back. We're only interested in this movement coming out here, like that. And the minute you get to the point that we want you to be at, as far as you possibly can move, then it's going to go beep, 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 and it's going to say success. Okay? Mm-hmm. Right. So you ready? The reward is only a simple word, yet the satisfaction leads to further effort. Okay, and rest.
Other games, no matter how they are played, have more in common than the electronic action on the screen. Instead of the injury being the focus of attention for the patient, his concentration is on winning. By providing both a diversion and a challenge, the games provide therapists with a way to make the hard work of exercise into less of a chore. More importantly, the games give patients the inspiration to continue. In Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, in a dentist's office packed with modern equipment, Dr. Robert Lorenzano practices an ancient craft, hypnotism. For those patients allergic to ordinary painkillers or who are simply over-fearful, he provides a trance instead of an anesthetic. He is a trained medical hypnotist.
I'd also like you to imagine that I've given you some Novocaine. Now, as I rub my finger across this area, it's going to feel as though it's getting slightly tingly. It's getting more and more tingly. It's feeling as though it's getting rubbery, a little fat, just as though, Ruth, I'm going to touch your lip, which is numb now. It's getting number and number and number. And we shall just touch your lip. And this won't disturb you. You'll know I'm doing it, but you won't feel any pinch or any pain.
With the patient now relaxed, deep in a hypnotic trance, Dr. Lorenzano begins the treatment. Without any anesthetic, the patient is about to undergo what was once one of the most painful of all dental procedures, a root canal operation. Despite its effectiveness, however, not all patients can be hypnotized. Dr. Lorenzano uses the technique in only about 10% of the cases he treats.
Mr. Main, the canal, no problem.
It's 23 to 70.
Okay. Upon awakening today, you'll feel very rested, relaxed, refreshed, as you have in the past. Now, Ruth, on the count of 5, you'll be fully awake, fully aware, refreshed, relaxed, and just as though you were when you came in, except more relaxed. Now, on the count of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It is a slow but painless reawakening.
How do you feel? Okay. She'll be able to leave here, get in a car, drive home, go to work, take care of her kids, do anything of that nature without any drowsiness or side effects.
Now, let's see. I'll need some preserved swallow's nest, some extract of tiger bone, and a couple of dried lizards. What sounds like the ingredients for a potent witch's brew can actually be found in this unusual store. Here, the modern world of medicine becomes an ancient world of exotic potions and antidotes for everyday aches and pains. This is Takshen's Ginseng and Herb Store in Los Angeles, California. Its customers can choose from more than 2,000 varieties of roots and herbs. There are dried seafoods and strange-looking products imported from the Far East. There's something here for every age and symptom. Dried seahorse for shortness of breath and poor memory. Deer antlers, excellent for men with, quote, declining functions, unquote. Some of the herbs have developed interesting reputations. One of the most familiar is ginseng, with its mysterious promise of health, longevity, and sexual rejuvenation. Its origin is veiled in legend. Its medical values have never been fully explored by scientists of the Western world. One thing is certain. It's held in high regard by the Chinese people because of the resemblance of the ginseng root to the human form. Believe it or not.
As an aid in the treatment of sore backs, an 18th century inventor developed an elaborate back rubbing machine. Believe it or not.
Don't you wish you could get the soothing, gentle cleaning of a bath every time you change your baby? Introducing Pampers Baby Fresh. Baby Fresh and Pampers got together and made a wipe quilted thick, blended with soft, natural fibers. A wipe gentler on your baby's skin than the other leading wipe. So now every change is more soothing, gentler, and just from the bath fresh. Introducing Pampers Baby Fresh. Pamper your baby. Bathe them in gentleness.
And it's Dana on the left wing. He passes to Miller, and Miller shoots. He scores! Well, there's the first goal, Bob. Just like in Detroit where they throw an octopus on the ice, and in Florida where they throw rats. Up here in Canada, you guessed it, they throw Canadians. Ooh.
Not going anywhere for a while? Grab a Snickers.
Hey, Chucky!
You've probably noticed all of these commercials about yeast infection treatments. They talk about how effective they are. Even so, if you read the labels, you'll notice there's only one 3-day treatment that comes in the comfortable cream form most women prefer. FemStat 3. It's the only cream out there that treats in 3 days.
3 days? There is no better cure without a prescription.
And what could be better than that?
FemStat 3. The cure that fits your life.
The human race is driven to explore new worlds, to learn more, to go faster. It's true in space, and it's true in cyberspace.
New X2 technology is here from US Robotics. Downloads nearly twice as fast as other modems. US Robotics. We make the world's #1 selling modem. For faster downloads with X2 technology, call your internet provider.
You're watching Ripley's Believe It or Not on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Mystery Science Theater 3000 has staggered back to life. Mystery Science Theater 3000, Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern.
I am the Sci-Fi Channel. Saturday, I will project your cinematic dreams in the dimension of movie magic.
At 7, when the Saturday double feature begins, meet Dr. Mordred, Master of the Unknown. Then at 8:30, Michelle Pfeiffer and Rutger Hauer starring Lady Hawk.
The Sci-Fi Channel Weekends of Wonder.
Saturday.
Come with me.
10 cents may not look like much to you, but sign up for Sprint Cents Long Distance now, and you'll be amazed at what this little dime can do.
Every time I get another dime, I think about calling my agent for just 10 cents a minute. So what if he puts me on hold?
Barb, your agent's on the phone.
Coming. Yes.
Funny, ever since I got Sprint's dime a minute rate, I can call anywhere in the country and know exactly what I'm paying every month. Nothing surprises me. Hi.
Suddenly, it all makes sense. I work all day, so at 10 cents a minute nights and weekends, I can give myself the green light to talk.
Call now and you'll get an extra bonus. 200 minutes free.
Of course, I could pay more nights and weekends, but that wouldn't make sense.
To me, the biggest bonus is I get 10% cash back.
That's cool. With Sprint Sense, it all makes sense. See for yourself. Call now, 1-800-913-9731.
Millions of New Yorkers lay eyes on it every day, but don't really see it. Gradually, perhaps inevitably, it has become part of the unobserved landscape. Conceived and executed in the era of the horse and buggy, it continues to render vital service even in the space age. It is the Brooklyn Bridge. And for every 100 yards of its length, a man died. Just 4 years after the Civil War in 1869, construction began. Manhattan was then a city of wood and brick. No building was taller than 6 stories. Yet engineer John Roebling set out to raise gigantic twin towers over 27 stories high as anchors for over 1,700 tons of steel cable. Within a year, however, an on-the-job accident resulted in Roebling's death. His son, 32-year-old Washington Roebling, stepped in to take over the job. To create the foundation for each massive tower, a huge floating box the size of a city block, called a caisson, was positioned in the water. Then, slowly, it was filled with some 70,000 tons of stone and brickwork. As it sank, an inverted chamber trapped air so that when it touched bottom, a working space was created. As the silt and sand under it was removed, additional weight forced the huge foundation down to the bedrock beneath the river. Working inside the air chamber, over 60 feet beneath the surface, was sometimes fatal. The pressure caused caisson disease, now known as the bends. Washington Roebling was an early victim, and for the next decade, never left this building. He supervised the construction of the bridge from his sickbed.
Washington Roebling became an almost helpless invalid.
It wasn't just the result of the caisson disease, the bends. He was plagued by a whole spectrum of symptoms that have never been satisfactorily explained. Mysterious pains, weakness, deteriorating eyesight. He was confined to his bedroom, a room much like this one, for over 10 years. Yet, throughout all that time, he managed to maintain control of both long-range and day-to-day operations. He supervised progress, or the lack of it, through binoculars or a telescope. He gave his orders through Emily, his wife, and chief aide. Almost every day, she walked half a mile down to the bridge site to deliver her husband's latest orders. At first, Emily was her husband's secretary. Then, in time, she assumed more command and became, in effect, the project's chief inspector. It took 7 years to complete the construction of the mighty caissons on both sides of the East River. At 276 feet, they dwarfed the cities they were built to serve. When they were topped off, they became the tallest structures on the North American continent. With the towers in place, the stringing of cable could begin. The massive cable was designed by Roebling, but manufactured by a dishonest contractor. The defective strands were not discovered until after they had been installed. But by then, it was too late. The faulty wire was impossible to remove, so Roebling simply added more wire to each cable at the expense of the crooked contractor. In the end, riggers rested safely on cables spun from over 12,000 miles of wire. After 14 years in construction, the bridge was finally finished. It was May 1883. To celebrate, the city planned a monumental celebration. Washington Roebling, the invalid mastermind with the will of iron, couldn't come to the party. He had to stay at home and watch it all through his window. It was Thursday, May 24th, 1883. Over 14 tons of fireworks lit the summer sky. A century later, in 1983, Roebling's achievement was celebrated again. Engineers fully expect a similar celebration in 2083. Strangely, after the bridge was finished, Roebling's weak health began to improve. Soon,
He was allowed to leave his bed and his room, and then finally, at long last, he set foot on his magnificent creation.
To architects and engineers, the Brooklyn Bridge is a masterpiece. As a monument to the determination of one man, however, it pales in comparison to another that begins here on the coast of the Yellow Sea. It too began as the dream of a single man, then became a national obsession. This is the Great Wall of China. Its purpose was first to unite, then to defend an empire. It extends across China on a zigzag course for over 1,500 miles. If it was transposed to the United States, it would reach from New Jersey to Nebraska. It is the only man-made object on Earth that is clearly visible from outer space. Construction began over 500 years before Christ. To prevent northern barbarians from entering his kingdom, the wall was extended by Xu Huangdi, the emperor who first united China into one vast domain. To build it, laborers were simply drafted by emperors determined to keep the barbarians at bay. During one hectic period, more than 1 million Chinese were at work at the same time. For every stone in the wall, according to popular legend, a man died. As the crow flies, it extends only 1,500 miles, but the wall is actually over 4,000 miles long. It meanders over mountain ridges, creates loops, follows a dizzying course dictated as much by the terrain as by the needs of warfare. For more than 2,500 years, the wall had served as a military installation. Recently, it has also become a tourist attraction. In 1972, then-President Richard Nixon took a walk on the wall as a symbolic gesture to mark the end of political tension between the United States and mainland China. From sea level in the east, it climbs to heights of over 6,000 feet. Built entirely by hand labor, stone for the wall was cut from local quarries. And where no stone was available, the wall was raised out of the earth itself. Near its end in the northern deserts bordering Mongolia, heavily laden trains now thunder past the last bastion of the emperors of old. It is a lonely but majestic outpost to mark the end of the largest man-made object in the world. Believe it or not. In Australia, a fence built to protect sheep is over 4,500 miles longer than the Great Wall of China. Believe it or not.
This Sci-Fi Channel program is brought to you by the best thing to happen to chocolate in 1996, Milky Way Light.
And sir, every time we find one of them, we find one of these.
Milky Way?
The lab did say there's nothing like it. Chocolate, caramel,
nougat.
What is nougat anyway?
Gentlemen, I'm under a lot of pressure. I need answers. And you bring me chocolate. Forget Milky Way.
But sir...
Get this investigation back on track. Go.
Chocolate, caramel, and beyond.
I I kind of think that you gotta just let a kid be a kid.
Bridget Jones and her mom, Barbara.
She gets a favorite outfit. She lives in it. You literally have to peel the clothes off of them sometimes. I had seen this commercial on TV. Oshkosh recommended what to wash it in. They said it could get the stains out and keep colors bright. Wash after wash.
Tide's activated bleaching system is unbeatable at removing many tough stains, while special ingredients help keep cotton colors bright wash after wash.
They weren't kidding.
If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide.
Good thing her little sister likes hand-me-downs.
If you wear ordinary contact lenses, your eyes may not be as comfortable as they could be. Irritating dirt and deposits build up.
How about the free contacts?
I was just getting there. But AccuView always gives you the comfort of fresh new lenses.
The free contacts?
Oh, right. Call Johnson & Johnson at 1-800-701-6100 and get a free trial pair of AccuView from your doctor. The contacts doctors prescribe most.
Free is good.
Your eyes will feel better all day long.
I like free.
You should call too. 1-800-701-6100.
All across America, we ask families to trade their soap for a breakthrough in family skincare. New Moisture Care from Ivory and Bar and Body Wash. Could they tell the difference?
There's more moisture in my skin.
More moisture. You need it out here in the desert.
New Moisture Care from Ivory has special conditioning cleansers that leave skin more moisturized than any soap. Healthier, softer, smoother.
Finally, one bar my whole family likes.
Try Ivory Moisture Care for a week. Discover the natural glow of healthier skin.
It's a whole new kind of ivory.
Visualize the body you've always wanted. Strong arms, a well-defined chest, a V-shaped torso, and muscular legs. With the Nordic Flex Ultralift, this body can be yours. The Ultralift's exclusive 4-bar linkage system transforms your body weight into steady, muscle-building resistance, which gives you a smoother lift than a traditional weight stack. The Ultralift's been shown to add over 8 pounds of lean muscle and increase muscle performance by 78% in just 90 days. With the Ultralift's single-station design, I can move from exercise to exercise without complicated adjustments.
You can get the body you've always wanted for just $39.95 a month. We're so sure you'll see results, Nordic Track will give you 90 days to try it in your home. If you're not completely satisfied, return it for a refund of the purchase price.
In just 90 days, the Ultralift will have you well on your way to achieving the body you've always wanted.
Call for your free Ultralift video and brochure and get the body you've always wanted. Call today.
For Imsuk Arminio, attention to the smallest detail is as much a part of her stock and trade as a paintbrush or a pair of scissors. She's a painter of miniatures. Her canvas, however, is the human fingernail. Originally from Korea, Imsuk began painting on fingernails at her shop in Downey, California over 2 years ago. Her work ranges from fanciful landscapes to portraits and abstract designs. Her fee ranges from $5 to $20 per fingernail, and it takes about 15 minutes per nail. Plus, of course, a few coats of clear lacquer to protect her art from wear and tear. Colorful, distinctive, expensive. I'm wearing about $100 worth of original art. Unfortunately, unlike other art forms, this is less than permanent. Unfortunate for me, but not for Imsuk Arminio. She also does touch-ups. Such portable miniature works of art are relatively fast and painless to put on. In France, however, artist Serge Diaghilev requires considerably more patience of his models. They come to him to serve as a human canvas and must sit quietly for hours. The model has very little idea of exactly how Serge intends to decorate her face. He uses ordinary makeup, but in a most unusual way. His intent is not to enhance the model's features, but to transform them to conform with his imagination. Until she looks into a mirror, she will not know what he has done. To Serge, the result gives the impression of a bird. It is the result of 10 hours' work, yet will soon be washed away. But not before it is preserved, along with Serge's other work, in the form of a series of startlingly surrealistic photographs. the makeup, no matter how bizarre, the models remain unchanged. In New Guinea, the human face undergoes a permanent transformation. Among the Asmat people, the carvings which adorn these totem poles are symbolic portraits of actual facial alterations. From giant logs of the sago tree, master craftsmen carve ceremonial icons to honor fallen warriors. The device protruding from the nose is not a fanciful creation of the artist. Nose piercing is common among the Asmat people. It permits the wearing of a nose piece like this to imitate the fierce appearance of the wild boar. The nose pieces take many forms, but all of them are worn for the same purpose: to strike fear into the hearts of their enemies. Before the local government outlawed the practice, the Asmat were headhunters. Until then, the raising of the totems was a prologue to war. Now, the nose pieces are simply reminders of a tradition that once demanded revenge for the death of a warrior. For them, perhaps the old ways are doomed, despite the fierce faces guarding their sacred ground. In India, respect for another tradition fills buses with pilgrims determined to make the long journey to a town on the banks of the Ganges River called Haridwar. Part of the ritual begins here, at the hands of one of the 400 barbers who proudly display the tools of their ancient craft. For them, there is rarely a shortage of customers. As many as 25,000 pilgrims come here every day to get their heads shaved. For the barbers, it is a thriving business. For some pilgrims, it is a way to cleanse the soul. Many believe sin becomes concentrated in the hair. By losing it, they believe they can wipe the slate clean of past offenses and leave their sins behind them. For children, head shaving is a way to prevent a possibility of evil. Some parents are convinced that the first growth, the hair the child was born with, is susceptible to black magic and must be removed.